I am back in my homeland, Italy. And this year, I'm exploring the Mediterranean coast, from the glittering elegance of its cliff-top towns to its mountainous, rustic villages.
I think I was born to be a cowboy.
And rugged wild islands, traveling dramatic coastal roads and across the sea to reveal the best-kept secrets of these coasts.
This is just incredible.
And of course, serving up mouth-watering authentic food.
I thank you because I never tried this and this is delicious.
That's it. From the ancient island of Elba to the southern tip of the Boots. Welcome to my Italian coastal escape. I'm exploring the places that I think reveal the best of the Italian West Coast and its cuisine. From the Tuscan coast in the north, the middle stretch studded with show-stopping Sorrento and Capri, right down to the southern tip of the Boot and the Aeolian Islands. And tonight I'm kicking off on the famous Amalfi Coast. I'll experience both the glamour as well as revealing its hidden side. Often voted in the top 10 destination to visit in Italy, the Amalfi Coast is 37-kilometer stretch of iconic coastline made up of many picturesque towns. I'm stopping at 3 of my favorites: Cetara, Minori, and of course, the picture postcard, Positano. The seaside town is characterized by its pretty meandering streets that lead down to the beach. The pastel houses that hug the cliffs, and for being the most photogenic town in all of Italy. My companion is local guide Lisa, who's been showing tourists around this iconic town for over 30 years. Meaning she's perfectly placed to introduce me to its signature pastime, taking in the view while having a classic Amalfi Coast spritz.
Grazie, caro.
Grazie.
Salute.
Yes, salute a te, Gino.
Usually they give you the Aperol spritz.
We're on the Amalfi Coast, Gino, so we've
that-
taken out the Aperol and we've put in the limoncello.
Limoncello is the lemon-flavored liqueur that hails from this area.
Oh, that's, yeah. Really get the lemon in and the limoncello.
Get first the lemon in and then the alcohol.
Oh.
While we sip our spritz, Lisa tells me how this became the #1 place to visit.
Positano became super cool immediately after the war because lots of famous people came here, artists, painters, Picasso, famous actors like Sophia Loren or Jacqueline Kennedy.
To find a quiet
To
place.
find quiet places. Because you could live here, not being noticed.
If I wanted to buy a house here in Positano, can I do that? Or do you need to be a resident?
No.
How does it work?
It costs a lot, but you can. Round about 8,000 euro per square meter.
You will say this is the ultimate exclusive place to buy a property.
It is. Piacere.
Salute.
Ciao.
As much as I'm enjoying the spritz, the best way to really appreciate this coastline is to charter a boat from Amalfi town itself and head to open blue water. This coast is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's an outstanding example of a Mediterranean landscape.
Lisa, what do you think makes this place so popular? I think it's the very distinct look. I mean, all those colors, the way the houses are built in the rock.
If you look at it, everything looks put in a certain place, studied, but it's not. It's just being built because where they found space, that's where they built the houses. And if you look, you can see the top of the church has a Moorish influence. So all the colors, the green, the yellow, the blue, makes it really, really elegant.
Do you think the food has got something to do with it?
Yes, we have the lemons, we have the anchovies, we have the olive oil, we have some excellent wines.
Tomatoes,
Tomatoes,
which
of
unbelievable,
course.
fresh basil,
Wonderful, yeah, inland.
mozzarella.
So the food is excellent.
simple ingredients defines Italian cooking, and these Amalfi ingredients are full of flavor. A dish that shows them off is a caprese salad, and it's also very special to me.
The last time I saw my dad, before he passed away, we both ordered a caprese salad. So I'm gonna dedicate this beautiful salad to my dad. Hi, Daddy. And look, if I can do this on a sailing boat, as I'm sailing, you should be able to do this at home. It's very simple. And to make a caprese salad, you must get the right ingredients. These are the kind of tomato I'm looking for. These are called San Marzano, which you can get in the UK. Roughly cut them into a large bowl. Just cut them like that, look. Like that, beautiful. That's it. Now, let's talk about the mozzarella. I'm just gonna make a cut. Look at the amount of milk that comes out of a mozzarella. When you see that kind of milk, you know that you have a good buffalo mozzarella.
For me, this is the perfect starter to any Italian meal. Always stir basil to maximize its flavor.
This is gonna give the beautiful aniseed flavor that the basil gives into the salad. Good quality extra virgin olive oil. Drizzle goes in.
I then season to taste. Mix, and ecco qua, a simple yet flavorful salad.
Lisa, come on,
Coming.
bring the glasses. I've got a bottle of Prosecco, which it should be nice and chilled. Oh, yes.
Salute.
That's it.
Prosecco is ideally suited rather than wine, as the fizz complements the creaminess of the mozzarella cheese.
Nothing better than a cold glass of Prosecco in the sunshine with a nice caprese salad.
As a keen sailor, I love drifting along this coast, but I want to show you an unexpected side to this coastline.
1 second. I'm not actually sailing. I'm
You're
just,
not?
I'm just pretending. You eat the salad. But it looks good on camera.
So back on dry land, I head east to another seaside gem. 2.5 miles along the coast from Amalfi is the small but stunning town of Minori.
Now, let me give you a tip about this beautiful little town of Minori. I used to come here when I was at catering college, and just around the corner, you have the town of Amalfi, Positano, Sorrento, you know, all those glamorous towns that everybody knows about it. In my opinion, this is as good as, and trust me guys, it's definitely less expensive.
This tiny town, not even 1 square mile, is home to just under 3,000 people. It's a great example of a place that's held its traditions dear, as it's celebrated as the birthplace for fresh pasta. One Minori family still produces the town's local specialty, a unique handmade pasta using ricotta cheese. So I'm in Claudia's kitchen to get a masterclass in making the delightfully named dunderi.
Okay, dunderi.
Shall we do
Let's
them?
do this.
So here I've got 400 grams of ricotta, and I'm putting obviously.
Foreglio.
Yes. Grazie. Bit of pepper. Now this is to taste. And then I put a pinch of salt. And then 15 grams of Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan cheese, 400 grams of ricotta cheese. Nutmeg
to taste.
to taste. Everything is to taste.
Sì,
Everything is
certo.
to taste. Very willy-nilly, as we say in English, right?
What do you say in English?
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly. You must be familiar with willy. And nilly is...
Willy? You know that nutmeg is aphrodisiac, don't you? That's
it?
enough. The flour is 30 grams per 100 grams of ricotta.
So you're using a wooden spoon. My grandmother used to say to me, the least you move it around and the fluffier it's going to be. So if you use the back of the spoon, it's easier.
I didn't know that. I've learned something new today. What we're doing is just making gnocchi.
But instead of using potato, we're using ricotta.
Esatto, yes, exactly.
And you should have said that at the beginning. Can I try?
You have to.
In the raw stage, it's already delicious.
Can you get a couple of forks, please?
This one?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some options. There you go.
Of course, I like this one.
It's another thing I love about Italian draws. When you're looking for cutlery, they're never the same. There must have been 22 different kind of forks, and I love that. We're gonna roll them in a fork, right?
Yes.
But I guess you can cook them like this.
You can eat them like this, but if you roll them like that, you get the sauce inside.
So what are you looking for is the dents of the fork, which the sauce is gonna stick on it,
Yes.
but also the hole in the back, so then the sauce stays in
Gets
there.
in there.
Claudia,
See?
I got cooking to do.
Okay.
So you carry on with your dunderi.
I will.
Look at that, beautiful dunderi.
Meravigliosi.
Mwah. Grazie, bella.
Ciao.
So now I got my dunderi. I think it's only fair to make sure that the sauce I'm going to prepare with the dunderi is nice and light. I want the dunderi to be the star for this dish.
My sauce is a simple vegetable one to complement the dunderi. But don't worry, if you want to recreate this dish, the gnocchi is the perfect replacement. So first, dice 2 courgettes into small, even-sized cubes. Slice 2 red peppers in exactly the same way.
Job done. You will see, give or take, the same dice.
Then heat up some olive oil, making sure it's nice and hot.
Before you put all the vegetables in the oil, let me give you a little tip. Just pick 1 little courgettes and put it in. If you see that it starts to sizzle, the oil is ready. Definitely start to sizzle. Now, get everything together, straight in.
Add a generous pinch of salt.
You probably want to cook this one for about 10-12 minutes, okay? Do the first 7-8 minutes, then we're gonna start to add the sage.
Finally slice the sage and add in when the veg has softened, after about 7 minutes.
And a big knob of butter. The butter is gonna make this sauce nice and creamy. Mix all together, switch off the heat. Now we're ready to cook the dunderi.
In a large pan of boiling salted water, add in the dunderi.
As soon as they come up, give another 2 to 3 minutes to cook, and the job is done. Okay, the sauce is nice, my dunderi are perfectly cooked, and it's very important that we now mix the dunderi and the sauce together, because what I wanted to show you, what Claudia told me. I wanted the courgettes, the peppers, the sage to go on the stripes of the dunderi and inside the hole.
Put it back on a high heat and stir for around a minute.
Just like that. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper. Now look at that, all the crispy peppers and the courgettes, they're going all the way inside that hole of the dunderi.
And finish with some freshly grated Parmesan cheese.
That's it. Where is Claudia? Claudia!
Coming.
Vieni, come in. That's for you. And I think you're absolutely right. It's important to do the holes in there, so then all the sauce goes in there. Oh, woman, huh? Do you think it works well with the courgettes
I
and the
don't know, I'll
peppers?
tell you when it's finished.
I'll take that as a yes then. With this mouth-watering pasta and the breathtaking seaside towns, my Amalfi coastal experience is shaping up nicely, and there is so much more to come. Tonight, I'm guiding you through the Amalfi coast, visiting seaside towns and uncovering its food traditions as only the locals know them. It's a place that celebrates its history and is captivatingly beautiful.
And my next destination will not disappoint. It's the picturesque fishing village of Cetara. This is one place that I didn't visit when I was a little boy, and I'm really excited because to me this little town is food heaven.
7 miles away from Minori, Cetara is at the eastern end of the Amalfi Coast, home to just over 2,000 people. Fishing is at the heart of this tiny community and has made a name for itself, producing colatura di alici, an anchovy oil made from the natural process of salting anchovies. This was the ancient Romans' favorite condiment, and it's still a staple found in every Italian's kitchen.
I know what you're thinking. Anchovy oil. Trust me, this will change the way you cook. And the first thing you need, oh yes, is anchovies.
And catching these tiny fish happens after dusk, when they are attracted to the surface of the water by moonlight.
Buonasera, come va ragazzi?
So, as night falls, I hop on board fisherman Domenico's boat for an evening under the stars. Domenico uses modern sonar technology to track the anchovies, and then relies on a centuries-old way of fishing to land a catch.
So the small boat goes in and they're gonna put the light into the water to attract the anchovy.
These fishermen have a window of just 4 months between March and July, when these waters are rich in anchovies. In one trip, they can haul up to 2,000 kilos of anchovies, which can net them up to 6,500 pounds.
So they got the two little boats with the lights shining into the water so the anchovies gets all excited. The nets goes underneath, and with a little bit of luck, we're gonna pick them up. I really hope so.
Domenico's nets are dropped to depths of 100 meters, and the crew then use their years of expertise to decide when to haul the nets back up. Simple.
I can see anchovies, I can see anchovies. Chiudiamola però, così non si vede.
One successful catch.
We got anchovies!
And for these fishermen, the night is only just beginning. But for me, well, my job is to make sure this catch goes to the anchovy oil factory in Cetara in the morning. After a good night's sleep, I'm clocking in with oil producer Gennaro.
Gino, il processo in effetti è molto semplice.
His anchovy oil is still made using a 1,000-year-old recipe. The anchovies are cleaned by hand and placed in wooden barrels within layers of salt.
They put stones on top. The weight allows the water and the oil to separate from the anchovies, and this process takes 18 months. A little bit like wine. You just need to be patient, take your time, and eventually the flavor comes together.
Voilà.
I can see already some dripping.
Ok.
Pronto?
Sì.
Vai.
Fantastic. Now you... Gino, devi provare. Una goccia.
So literally, it lets me try one drop. Not a teaspoon or anything, just one drop. Pronti?
Yes. Mamma mia.
Può.
Posso dirlo in dialetto? Adore mare, mocca a te.
You know, in a Neapolitan dialect, he told me exactly what I was feeling. Is slightly salty but yet sweet. This is unique.
Ok, please. Soprattutto.
Salute.
Cin.
Salute.
Yum, yum, yum. And with the sweet and salty anchovy dripping in hand, it's back to Cetara's beautiful harbor to create a dish that's a perfect starter, my twist on the classic Italian bruschetta.
I'm going to use all local ingredients. I mean, my Amalfi lemons, then I'm going to use anchovies from Cetara, and the tuna from the sea behind me. I'm going to prepare a tuna tartare with anchovy dripping. Now, what we need to do, you get some nice plum tomato. I'm using San Marzano tomato, but make sure if you can find the San Marzano that they plum. Don't use the round one because they're too watery.
Remove the pulp from the tomatoes, dice and place into a large bowl. For a little kick, I'm adding finely chopped red chilies. Then chopped spring onions, pitted black olives and capers. To balance the flavors, I'm adding some roughly chopped flat leaf parsley.
My next ingredient, a typical cetara ingredient, anchovies in olive oil. Don't chop them too fine because I want a little bit of texture. That's it, straight in. For my star ingredients, fresh tuna. I'm using the loin part of the tuna, but look at this. A little bit of fat going on, nice and sliced. This one, just roughly chopped. If you cut them too much, they're gonna be all pulpy, the textures are gonna be good. Here, they're going to explode into your mouth. Now, like any Italian dressing, we keep it very simple. So, extra virgin goes in, like that. Then we're gonna put the zest of a lemon. Fantastic. That's done. And straight away, the juice of half lemon.
Don't be put off by the thoughts of eating raw fish. For me, this is the best way to try fresh tuna.
Now, I don't know if you realize, but I haven't put any salt in the tuna tartare because, remember, the anchovies are gonna be salty, the capers are salty, the olives are salty. No salt, just keep mixing and serve it straight away.
Serve in chicory leaves, pile them with the tartare, and then arrange on a plate.
Nice. And if you want to do a nice bruschetta for your aperitivo, the only thing you have to do, get a bit of ciabatta. Grab a little bit of olive oil on the griddle pan so it's going to be nice and crispy. But my tip is this, get a garlic clove, peel it, and gently rub it on the bread. This is going to give you an extra kick. Pile the tuna tartare on top. Now for my secret ingredient, just before you serve it, anchovy dripping. That's it. And I'm gonna serve this one with white wine called Furore Bianco from the Amalfi Coast. Fruity and floral, which is gonna complement the tuna. Fantastico.
From sea to plate, this superb starter sums up the spectacular simplicity of Amalfi Coast cuisine. Salute! Next time, I explore the sweet side of Sorrento.
Not having the delizia limone is like going to Ireland and not trying Guinness.
Set sail for Capri
You're gonna have to arrive in style.
and serve up a dish sweeter than me.
Trust me, the best cake that you ever had.
For my Mediterranean adventure, I've handpicked 10 places that I think reveal the very best of the Italian West Coast and its cuisine. From the Tuscan shores in the north to the showstoppers Amalfi and Sorrento that dot the middle stretch, right down to the tip of the boot and the Aeolian Islands. And
Tonight, my culinary journey takes me along the Sorrento coast and to the beautiful island of Capri.
Capri is one of the chicest islands in the Mediterranean. It sits just a few nautical miles off the coast of Sorrento. At only 6 square miles, it may be small in size, but it's got a big reputation for excellent desserts and digestivos, and it's consistently voted the #1 island in Italy to visit. And that's why.
You can't come to this coastline without visit the island of Capri. And guys, when you do so, you're gonna have to rent one of these boats. This boat is called Mozzo Sorrentino, because when you arrive to Capri, you're gonna have to arrive in style.
Or you can jump on a ferry from the main port in Sorrento. A 20 minutes ride across the straits transports you to this beautiful island. From the port, you take a funicular up the mountainous slopes, which dominate the island, bringing you into the town of Capri. The town is a maze of narrow little lanes, filled with designer shops, winding between traditional whitewashed buildings. It's been a magnet for the rich and famous since it first became a roaring hotspot in the 50s.
It was on the Isle of Capri that I found her, beneath the shade of an old walnut tree. Oh, I can still see the flowers blooming around her, where we met on the Isle of Capri.
One of Capri's most celebrated residents is photographer Gennaro, who at 87 lived through and documented those hedonistic days.
Allora io ho detto a bel momento, tu preferisci
I'm lucky enough to be granted a private audience with his now retired and reclusive local legend, who I am hoping can tell me more about this island's magnetism.
Mr. Gino, it is impossible to describe the amount of glamour and beauty in the building, in the women, in men, in the clothes. You would find princesses from all over the world walking around Capri with the most amazing dress, but then all of a sudden they had a monkey on their shoulder, just because they could.
Stars of the silver screen like Maria Callas and Brigitte Bardot flocked here, but his most famous subject was none other than America's iconic First Lady.
Jackie Kennedy came to Capri and she went into a shoe shop. So what Tonino did, he hid behind the counter. And as she was trying the sandal, the skirt came up and all her beautiful leg came to show. She got very upset at that moment and she took the sandal and she threw the sandal at Tonino and Tonino threw the sandal back at her. Then they threw him out of the shop and Tonino reminded her, you used to be a photographer. I didn't know that Jackie Kennedy was a photographer. He said, at one point, you used to be a photographer and that's how you met your husband, the famous president. And she turned to Tonino and went, yes, you're right, I'm sorry.
Da quel momento in poi diventiamo amici.
From then onwards, they became good friends. I don't know if he's a pervert or he's a genius.
My time with the island's original paparazzo has given me a greater understanding on how Capri's air of exclusivity still attracts the glitterati. But this tiny island has also muscled its way onto Italy's food and drink map. And the reason why can be found on the other side of the island in the more rustic Anacapri. Here life has remained authentic. Designer streets are replaced with sleepy ones and locals exchange gossip surrounded by the scents of the town's lemon groves. This region's lemon are famed for being world-class, and their sweet scents has led me to Pierpaolo, whose family have a unique place in the history of Italy's most popular lemon digestivo.
What's the story?
The story is that limoncello, it was born in this garden more than 100 years ago. My grandmother, she used to prepare this liquor with the skin of lemons, alcohol and sugar.
So are you telling me
Yeah.
that your grandmother started limoncello?
That's a story.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Maria Antonia.
Maria Antonia.
Yeah. The lemons are not originally from Italy, but Arabia. Then, 200, 300 years ago, they import the plants of lemons here.
These lemons are so good, they are used in cooking all over this stretch of the coast. But Pierpaolo's nonna found a better way to consume them.
So this is to Maria Antonia.
Maria
Salute.
Antonia, salute.
Delizioso. There is also another classic caprese offering that complements that liquid lemon gold. The torta caprese, a flourless cake made with almonds and so beloved of the locals, they named it after the island.
Now, I know that you got this torta caprese in front of me, but I'm gonna have to try a little bit. Oh, get the almonds in straight away, is it? La mandorla.
Mandorla.
The flavor of Italy. Salute. You give me
Salute.
loads of food for thought, my friend. Thank you again.
So now I'm going to make my version of this super simple but super tasty torta caprese.
And I love to do this cake because we're using grounded almond, chocolate, pistachio nuts, eggs, and icing sugar. So 4 or 5 ingredients, put it all together. Trust me, the best cake that you ever had.
First, roughly chop some pistachio nuts and leave to one side.
Then we're gonna hold them in right to the ends.
Next, you need some good quality dark chocolates.
At least 70 to 80% cocoa solid.
And melt along with some butter in a heat-proof bowl over a pan of simmering water.
Leave it there, it's gonna take you about 10 minutes.
Next, separate 4 eggs.
That's it.
Add icing sugar to the yolks and leave to one side.
For the egg whites, get yourself a whisk, whisk away until nice and fluffy. That's it, that is perfect. And you know when it's perfect? If you can do this, look, and nothing's gonna fall down.
Then take the bowl with the yolks and icing sugar and mix until pale in color.
Okay, look the way it changes color straight away. Look at that. This is perfect.
Remove the now melted chocolate and butter mix from the heat.
Okay, chocolate is ready. Now let's pour everything together.
First, the chocolate goes into the egg yolks mixture. Slowly, slowly, piano, piano.
Folding. Okay, now is the time to put the ground almonds in. And again, fold everything together.
When the consistency changes, only then do you add the egg whites in.
One little bit at a time. So go for one first and fold it in. Look how the consistency change again. It's nice and fluffy now. Only now, when you get this consistency, is when you fold in the pistachio nuts. So get the pistachio straight in and fold in for about 30 seconds and the job is done.
Line a loose-bottomed cake tin with grease-proof paper and then pour the mixture in.
Now put it in the oven, preheated 180 degrees for 30 minutes. Look at that. I guarantee you this is going to be nice and moisture in the middle.
To release the cake without breaking it, place it on an upturned bowl.
Ecco qua. Sits.
Slice into generous portions to really indulge your taste buds.
And to serve this very simply, I'm going to put a little dollop of mascarpone cheese.
Which is the Italian way. You can always have some ice cream if you prefer.
And then a little touch of icing sugar.
I adored my time in Capri, and this torta caprese is my love letter to this simply beautiful Italian island. And I'm looking forward to exploring another town which is a perfect example of Italian coastal elegance, the cliff-top town of Sorrento. I'm exploring some of the best places on the Italian Mediterranean coastline. My next stop is a short hop over the Azure Sea from Capri to the elegant town of Sorrento. Sorrento sits on the southern side of the magnificent Bay of Naples, with Mount Vesuvius smoldering in the distance, and this whole area is a magnet for tourists from all over the world. With its mild climate, Sorrento enjoys one of the Mediterranean's longest tourist seasons. My tip is to get here in the spring because after that it gets hot, hot, hot and busy, busy, busy. Known as the gateway to the Amalfi and Sorrento coasts, this town is a perfect example of a classic Italian town with narrow streets filled with artisan shops that lead to the must-see place in Sorrento, the Piazza Tasso. This cafe-lined square sits in the heart of the town, perfect for people watching a favorite Italian pastime. And for enjoying a classic Sorrento dessert made using the coastline's lemons. If you come around this area, you're gonna have to try this cake here. It's called Delizia al limone. It's made with a sponge. Inside the sponge, you find a custard, and it's completely covered with a light lemon cream. I mean, coming around here and not having the Delizia al limone is like going to Ireland and not trying a pint of Guinness. It's crazy. I love the sweet treats of Sorrento, and as a chef, I'm all about new ingredients. So I'm excited to learn about another fruit grown only in Italy that I've heard of but never tasted. It's called amarena, a type of cherry which is used traditionally as a flavoring in our famous Italian gelato. Just 3 miles inland, on the fertile slopes of the Lattari Mountains, is the Piano di Sorrento. And it's here I find these small but potent fruits. Mario, an artisan farmer, champions the art of preserving these fruits. So what's the difference between an amarena and a cherry?
The plants and the fruit is so different because this is not sweet, it's dry.
So the amarena is bitter, smaller, lighter, and is used for cooking.
Yes.
This cherry farm has been in the family for generations, and Mario took over the business 20 years ago. And he continues to use traditional methods to sweeten the amarena.
After we pick for the tree, we just do handwork.
Okay. Each cherry has to be pitted by hands. Trust me, this is tricky. What's happening if the stone stays there?
Yeah, it's more strong.
Ah, you need to... Okay,
Yeah.
well, let me do it again. All by hand? There is no machine to do it?
The machine press the fruit.
Too much.
Too much.
And makes it dry.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I done one.
Yeah, nice,
Finally.
Gino.
So once we need to fill all of this?
Full. And after...
We're gonna be here for a week.
In one day, we make 3-4 of these.
In one day?
In one day.
4 in a day? I think this guy's taking the... So you put that, and then
Yes.
you put the sugar.
When it's full, put for 40 days in the sun.
So 40 days marinated in the sun?
Yes.
I never thought in a million years that it would be so labor intense. I'm gonna try one. Oh, it's bitter, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, really bitter.
really.
I can see why they preserve these cherries in sugar. I'm leaving Mario to sweeten them, as I'm going to make the perfect dish that these cherries will complement. This is my signature Sunday roast. You guys call it beef Wellington. In Italy, we call it filetto in camicia. Camicia means a shirt in Italian. And the reason why we say shirt, because the puff pastry is going to be rolled all around the fillet of beef, and it's going to be fantastic. Step 1, unwrap your fillet of beef, which has been chilling overnight in cling film. Heat some olive oil in a pan. Sear for 1 minute on each side to seal the meat. Then let it cool down. Step 2, on a large sheet of cling film, arrange some Parma ham and spread generously with red pesto.
Now you can imagine the flavors here. The saltiness of the Parma ham with the sweet sun-dried tomato paste. So this is gonna be incredible.
Then wrap over the cool down beef, cover in cling film and chill again.
That's it. Into the fridge for 45 minutes.
Step 3, while it's chilling, roll out some puff pastry.
Get the piece of meat, just put it in the middle and make sure that when you roll it, you go 2 fingers to seal the lengthways and 2 fingers on the width side, so then we can enclose it nice and beautifully.
Place the pastry on fresh cling film, with the meat in the center.
And this is exactly what you want to see. Look, beautiful.
Brush some mixed egg yolk over it and press the edges shut. Cover in cling film again and chill for an hour.
Perfect. Meanwhile, prepare the gravy.
Now, this is how I'm going to showcase Mario's cherries.
It's caramelized onions with red wine and amarena cherries.
Start by heating olive oil on a medium heat in a pan. Add some red onions, a pinch of salt, some rosemary, and a drop of runny honey to help the onions caramelize.
Not too much. Now for wine.
Boil the wine off and simmer for 15 minutes. Then add in a glug of balsamic vinegar.
Oh, the smell is incredible.
Next, add some chicken stock. Then, after 20 minutes, strain off the liquid using the back of a wooden spoon.
Pour the gravy back in the saucepan and lower the heat. Now the last touch is to add in the amarena cherries.
If you can't find amarena cherries, then strawberry or cherry jam will do the job.
This is gonna give a natural sweetness to the gravy. It's gonna be incredible. Put them in there. Give it a stir. Switch off the heat. Your gravy is ready.
Next, remove the cling film from the beef and pour into the middle of the baking tray.
Make sure that the seal on the bottom stays on the bottom, like that.
Use the back of a knife to score the pastry. Cover in egg wash and season generously. Depending on how you like your beef, cook for 30 minutes for medium rare or 10 minutes longer for medium.
If you like it well done and you want to completely ruin it, then leave it as long as you want. I don't want to get involved.
"30 minutes later,
look at that. Did I not tell you this is going to look amazing? Look, that's exactly what I wanted. Very pretty.
Let it rest for 10 minutes before carving into thick slices to serve.
Remember, I want it medium rare.
Now for the moment of truth.
And there you have it. Beautiful amarena cherry gravy.
Griddled summer vegetables are perfect to go with the meats.
And the way I like to serve my filetto di manzo is with a wine that is called Rue dell'Inchiostro Aianico. This wine is rich, full-bodied and sweet, just like my filetto di manzo in camicia. Look at the color. I love when a red wine is really red. Guys, do this recipe on Sunday. Trust me, your family, they will love you forever.
And so salute to you and to the beautiful Sorrento coast. I'm touring 10 special places along the west coast of Italy that I want to share with you. And tonight my adventure brings me to 2 regions bang in the middle of Italy's boot. My love of food will bring me to the ancient holiday resort of the Romans, the region of Lazio, in search of the best olives in Italy. But my journey kicks off on the coast of Tuscany. Iconic for rolling hills, lush green vineyard and cypress tree-lined roads, classic Tuscany is picture perfect. However, I want to get off the beaten track and explore a part of the 250-mile Tuscan coast that's a bit more rough and ready. I'm off to the region's southern shores to uncover an area called Maremma. This rugged coastal region with narrow wild beaches backing onto dusty flat plains is Italy's version of the Wild West.
Hey!
Complete with the country's only cowboys, butteri. For centuries they have worked this land, taming feral Maremmano horses to ride and driving wild, long-horned Maremmana cattle, known for their flavorful meats. Over generations, the number of butteri have declined, and today the handful who are left are tasked with keeping this Tuscan tradition alive. So it's a privilege to be invited to the ranch of buttero Gino and his experienced hand Ilaria.
500 years of tradition that they're trying to keep alive, and they worry the new kids that will not become butteri. E quando è che hai iniziato?
Io ho iniziato da bambina perché la passione del cavallo è sempre stata fin da bambina.
She started to be a buttera because she had a huge passion of horses when she was a little girl, and this is for her is the natural job to do. What's with the stick?
Questo si chiama uncino.
Uncino.
Sì.
So this is called the third arm of the buttero.
These butteri also wear grey velvet waistcoats, which I'm not wearing because...
To get a waistcoat, you need to be a qualified buttero, and at the moment, I'm not. So he said, unless you're gonna learn exactly what to do, you're never gonna be a buttero. I'm ready for this challenge. Come on.
And just like that, buttero Gino presents me with my initiation test.
I'm really looking forward because I always see those cowboys doing in America, and I have no idea how to do it. Ready?
But as buttero Gino shows me, instead of whirling it overhead like the Americans, the Italians throw it underarm.
With all the modern technology, I'm sure there is modern way of doing it. And he says, well, then the tradition will not keep. And Tuscany is all about tradition. Oh! Oh! This time I'm going to pretend that I'm calling one of my children, which they never answered to me anyway. Por! So close. I'm confident I'm gonna get this. Oh! Yes!
Perfetto.
Now, can I be a cowboy?
Next, I'm back in the saddle, becoming the cool, sleek cowboy I always dreamed I could be.
Shh. No, don't give me this silenzio.
Almost.
This horse is a shamble.
The butteri need to drive cattle across the land and into paddocks in search of fresh feed.
Move!
So my next test is to get these cows into a new pen.
I think I was born to be a cowboy.
Being with a butteri and experiencing a slice of elusive Tuscan life has been a privilege. With all this horsing around, I've worked up an appetite. And only here on the Mediterranean coast would you find a ranch right by the beach. So that's where I'm going.
What an incredible experience I had today with those cowboys. You know what really inspired me to do a barbecue on the beach? When I used to live in Italy, I used to do a barbecue on the beach at least once a month.
So tonight I'm serving marinated pork ribs, chops and sausages. To start, get the spicy beans on the go.
The first thing I did, I got some red onions, which I'm sweating down with some olive oil. Very simple. You know that they're ready because they get all nice and soft. In there, straight away, I'm going to add borlotti beans. Just drain the brine and put them straight into the pot. I like this, and it reminds me when I used to watch Western movie, they always have beans. The only thing is you have to cook them slowly. So mix everything together.
Now go in with some chili powder and paprika. Then a couple of glugs of red wine.
Remember, the beans are already cooked, so really what I'm doing, I'm warming them up and giving them extra flavor.
And finish off with some fresh oregano.
So put them on the side like that, and don't forget to stir from time to time. Now, for the meat, I got sausages, I got pork chop, I got rib. When you buy ribs, make sure that they got a lot of fat on it, so then when you put them on the barbecue, the fat is gonna go into the coal, into the wood, and it's gonna get a fantastic flavor. Now, for the marinade for the meat, I want to do the proper Italian way.
Start with some olive oil, add a glug of balsamic vinegar, then a good splash of red wine. Drizzle in some running honey to make your meat sticky and sweet. Finish off with some more paprika and chili and season with salt.
I'm also gonna put a touch of whiskey. Why not? I'm drinking it, so if it's good for me to drink, I'm sure the meat would mind. Not too much. Now, at this point, you get your hands in and just make sure that each piece of meat get well coated. Look, there is not a science into this. You don't need to be, the best chef in the world. You just need to love food to be able to do a barbecue like this.
Ideally, leave the meat to marinate for 4 to 5 hours, but just 30 minutes will still do the business. Time to get barbecuing, and of course, you can always do this on a griddle instead.
Look at that fire, that is really hot. Okay, now let's start with things that they're gonna take longer, like the ribs. Look at these bad boys here. So these they're gonna go straight in. Now, a mistake that a lot of people make, once they put the meat on the barbecue, they always move the meat around. Men, I have to say, are the worst one. My tip is very simple. Leave it there. You only move it once, maybe twice. The more time you move the meat, the moisture comes out and it gets really dry.
Add the rest of the meat to the grill, and in under 10 minutes, my barbecue is ready. And as there is plenty of food, the crew tuck in. As we enjoy the delicious platter, I can't help but think, what better way to round off a day in the saddle? A beach barbecue on this beautiful Tuscan coast. Salute!
Half the world away.
I'm exploring hidden gems along Italy's Mediterranean coast. And tonight, I'm continuing my journey over the Tuscan border into the region of Lazio. Most visitors here head straight to the city of Rome, but I don't do tourist trails. Instead, I'm hitting the open road, and a very special road at that. This is the Appian Way, the oldest highway built by the Romans, and was a lifeline to the empire. Built all the way back in 312 BC, the 350-mile ancient superhighway eventually connected the Mediterranean on the west coast to the eastern Adriatic coast. Used by the Romans to move their troops, it played a key role in ancient Roman history, and today is still lined with relics of its past. Driving on it is the ultimate living history experience. But it wasn't all work and war for the Romans, they needed to chill too. So like them, I'm turning off the Appian Way before it curves inland, back to the sea, to to a special town on the coast of Lazio.
I'm in the ancient town of Gaeta where the Romans came to escape the unbearable heat of the capital in the summer. It's the original Roman holiday.
Boasting 7 beaches, Gaeta was built on a hillside by the Romans, who wanted to be a feast for their eyes, with beautiful views over the sea.
I know Gaeta because I used to come here when I was a little boy with my mom and my dad and my sister. We used to camp in this area. And every Italian knows Gaeta because of the Gaeta olives. They are delicious.
The black Gaeta olives are famous as they've been cultivated for centuries, as they've thrived in this area's microclimates. Chef Carlos uses these special olives to make a local street food called tiella that's been enjoyed in this city for 200 years.
So Carlo has been living here all his life. I just said, you know what, Gaeta is really, really pretty. And he's learned this dish from the people who actually living on these roads. E come sta andando?
Ah, molto molto bene, abbiamo tanti ospiti italiani, anche esteri.
So Carlo was explaining that he took the dish that he learned in this very road and he commercialized in his restaurant and pizzeria.
Street food turned restaurant favorite, Carlos has invited me to his pizzeria kitchen. But first, we need to buy the ingredients.
Quindi, Carlo, qua dove prendi gli ingredienti tuoi? So every morning Carlo comes here to this shop and gets all the ingredients. But the one I'm really interested in is the most famous olive in Italy, the Gaeta olives.
Puoi assaggiare? Assaggia
Posso?
un'olive, sì.
That's the thing I like about Italy. Whenever you go in the shops, you can pick things and just try them before you buy them.
Com'è?
Buona.
Com'è? Buona, eh? Buona, meravigliosa.
The Gaeta olives are excellent. In Italy, we call them black olives. They're not really, really black, because a good black olives should be always like the aubergine color.
Ci puoi?
Una scarola, quanto ti serve? Una scarola?
Una scarola, poi ci prendiamo una pianta di scarola.
Più, eh?
Sì.
Just said get a few more olives because I'm probably going to eat them as I'm walking. Dai, more!
Okay. Poi paga dopo.
Gentilissimo.
Ciao,
Arrivederci.
Buona giornata.
Olives bought, we're off to Carlo's tiny pizzeria to make tiella, or the pizza pie. Originally a simple peasant food, it may not be much to look at, but trust me, this is the signature street food of Gaeta.
So what tiella actually translates in English is a tin. That's what it is. And the reason why it's called tiella, because this filled pizza is made in a tin. That's the one. So that's where the word tiella comes from. Very simply, this is a pizza dough. Water, yeast, and a little bit of salt and olive oil.
Perfetto.
I'm Neapolitan. You don't slap?
No.
No slapping?
No, yes.
Okay.
Carlos rolls out and puts the dough into the tin, adding a filling of Gaeta olives with scarola, a bitter lettuce similar to chicory. Other fillings include seafood, but always with olives.
Peperoncino fa pure bene all'uccello. He said, do you like chili? I said, yes, good, because chili is good for your willy. That's what my father used to say.
La tiella qui e la andiamo a chiudere. Chiudiamo qui, saldiamo.
Yeah. Then you
Saldare.
pinch and seal at the same time.
Perché bisogna...
Show them properly. Don't put your hands like that. Do like a television chef. Like that. That's it. Everybody thinks it's easy to be a TV chef. Huh? That's it. Bravo.
Così.
See, ma show them.
Yeah.
How can you show them if the camera is there and you're over here? You need to do the other way around, from here. Like that. Okay.
Ok.
Okay.
Ecco qui. Poi ancora un po',
Okay, look so far.
un po' di oil.
This is a mistake that everybody do when they make a pie, by the way. Extra virgin olive oil is the best tip I can give you whenever you make any kind of pie to give it the golden color. 220 degrees for 25 minutes, your tiella is done. I'm starving, I can't wait.
After what feels like a lifetime,
Is this gonna be hot?
Yes. Go, take
No,
care.
I'll take this.
Attenzione.
Uno a te, no? Quick, because I'm hungry. Salute.
Salute. Questo è buono.
Molto buono, It's everything I was expecting. Slightly bitter, the way I like it. With the olives inside, which are amazing. You get a little kick of chili and the pizza dough. I thought it would be heavy, but it's actually delicious. Thank you.
Grazie a te, Gino.
Questo è proprio buono.
Thank you.
No, buono.
there is just one other dish that comes to mind when I taste Gaeta olives. A great family recipe I loved when growing up. And the seafront is the perfect setting for me to share it with you.
I'm gonna be honest with you, this is not really my recipe. I took this recipe from my Auntie Clara. She used to make this for me at least once a week. It's a beautiful breaded chicken with Parmesan cheese in there with a spicy sauce. And she always insisted on using Gaeta olives. So I got the olives, let's get on.
In a small pan, start to fry the sliced garlic in olive oil with some chili flakes.
The garlic starts to sizzle. That tells me it's the time to add the chopped tomatoes.
Season with salt, stir, and then add the local superstar, Gaeta olives.
This is a cherry pita or an olive pita. What you do, you get your olives with a stone in it, you put it into the pita, you push it, and really easily out.
Gaetan olives always come with a stone, so once they are pitted, add into the tomato sauce.
I want to leave the olives whole because then when it's in the tomato sauce and I tasted the sauce and you got a little bit of chicken, I want the pulp of the olives to explode into my mouth.
Let the sauce gently bubble for about 20 minutes, stirring occasionally.
So I'm using chicken breast, skin off, without the bones. So get two of them straight on the chopping board here.
Butterfly the breast by slicing almost all the way through, then opening out. Then place between two sheets of cling film and gently bash to flatten.
By butterflying and bashing it down, what's happening? We cook it very quick. We're gonna keep the moisture in it. Now the chicken is ready. Let me explain to you the impanatura. How we're gonna make this chicken breast nice and crispy. And what are we using? I go just plain flour. Then I go eggs here, pinch of salt, and a little bit of black pepper. Eggs are ready. And then I go fine toasted breadcrumb. In the breadcrumb, I'm going to add freshly grated Parmesan cheese. So you can see where this recipe is going. You see, the chicken is going to be nice and crispy with the Parmesan cheese flavor. It's going to be amazing.
Take the chicken breasts and coat them first in the flour, then in the egg, and finally the fine toasted breadcrumbs for a crust.
Now let me give you a chef tip. To make sure that the chicken doesn't curl when you fry it, what you do? Get a large knife like this one and use the back of the knife. And this is what you want to do. You want to do like a diamond pattern on the breast. And when you do that, you're gonna see when you fry, it won't curl. That's exactly what I want. Look at that. These are ready to be fried. Oil goes in there, but make sure that the oil is hot before you put the chicken in there. So, one goes in. Cook the chicken for 3 minutes on each side, and the job is done.
To go with the chicken, I've got green beans Italian style. Simply cooked for 2 minutes in salted water, then drizzled in white wine vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, and seasoned.
Okay, the only thing I'm going to add on top of the chicken is some shaved Parmesan. Just scatter the shaved Parmesan on top. This is going to give extra texture. little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil on top of the pinch of black pepper. You got everything on this dish. The freshness of the beans, crispiness of the chicken, tasty Parmesan cheese, the sauce that then after you can donkey with your own bread. There you go. Thank you, Auntie Clara, and of course, thank you, Gaeta.
I'm traveling along the west coast of Italy, exploring the places that for me celebrates the very best that these shows have to offer. From the beaches of Tuscany, the breathtaking island of Capri, right down to the southern tip of the Boot and the Aeolian Islands. Tonight, my culinary journey takes me to an island very close to my heart, the Tuscan island of Elba.
I came on holiday to Elba with my family when I was just a nipper. It's my first memory I have of going on holiday, and for me, it felt like we were going abroad.
Shaped like a giant whale, sat 6 miles off the coast of Tuscany, it's a hotspot for holidaymakers. With 91 miles of coastline, boasting 150 beaches, all surrounded by irresistible, clear azure sea. So first, I'm making a splash Gino style off the east coast of the island.
Isola d'Elba is famous for its water sport. You should come here and enjoy yourself. Woo!
As a kid on holiday here, I always loved messing about on the water. But I've been told under the Elban waves is something special I need to explore.
From the thrills above to the tranquility below.
Elba is the largest of 7 islands, which make up the Tuscan archipelago, the biggest marine park in Europe.
I can't believe my eyes. Beautifully preserved coral reefs full of sea life. I feel like I'm in the Caribbean.
I even spot one of the most traditional dishes found on every Elban menu.
Oh wow, an octopus! Amazing! I can't believe I'm seeing one of these so close up in the wild.
Wow, this experience has been incredible. I didn't even know that Italy had coral reefs. If you come here on the Isola d'Elba, you're gonna have to go down the water and see what I've seen. I am so lucky.
And there is much more to Elba than its beaches and water sports, as it's an 86 square mile island that's also steeped in history and culture. So back on dry land, I'm heading to Portoferraio, the largest town on the island. As the gateway to Elba, throughout history, Portoferraio has had to defend the island from unwelcome visitors, especially pirates. So a strong fortress was built at its center.
These huge walls were built to protect the islanders from the pirates that plagued the coast. Standing up close, you can almost hear the cannons being fired.
Bad news for pirates, but these forts were very attractive to the island's most famous residents, Emperor Napoleon, who in 1814 was forced to leave France and chose to live on Elba whilst in exile. Local expert Fernando was happy to tell me more.
Since I can remember when I was a little boy, it's always Napoleon here, Napoleon that, Napoleon did this, Napoleon did that.
Napoleon is very famous for the British. It's nice because you won against Napoleon, so it's nice to remember Napoleon.
No, we remember everybody that we destroy. Don't worry about it. But do you guys talk French?
No, but our language, our accent is so.
It's got like a French.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, let's stop that because I don't want an Italian island to start to talk French. All right.
Okay,
So let's talk with everybody. As Gino said, no more French talking.
Napoleon only reigned on Elba for 10 months, but still made big changes, building roads, overhauling the legal and education systems, and even redesigning the flag.
There's this white flag with the red stripes and 3 bees. And Napoleon chose the three bees because we have a lot of bees and honey. We are famous for honey.
All this is really fascinating me. And I know that there is a Napoleon house around here, which I'm going to go and visit now.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if he's in.
Of course.
Maybe get a coffee.
Napoleon's home here in Portoferraio was this lemon-colored villa, which he had designed in a Tuscan style, with formal gardens and views overlooking the sea. And today, it's a museum. Imagining the famous emperor here really is getting me thinking.
So this is Napoleon's bed. How Napoleon and Josephine did the, you know what I mean? Seems a bit small to me.
Napoleon is still celebrated by the people of Elba today. But as a chef, I'm keen to learn about the island's other most celebrated residents, its bees, and of course, their honey. So,
I'm traveling inland to the center of the island to meet Roberto, a bee whisperer who's dedicated all his life to protecting the bee and making fantastic honey.
9 miles east, perched in the foothills of Mount Capanello, Roberto and his family have created a sanctuary for bees in their beautiful herb garden.
Quindi ora che stai facendo con questi alberi?
At 80 plus, he still passionately tends to around 40 hives every day. And in return, the bees makes his family award-winning Alban honey. Roberto says his bees are docile and no longer sting him. But with these looks, I'm not taking any chances.
Roberto, I'm ready. Guarda, just in case they attack me.
Bisogna scappare.
Che succede col fumo?
Il fumo è un campanello, come andare in una casa e suonare e bussare alla porta.
It's very important to puff some of the smoke. If you don't do that, you're gonna get attacked. In this case, he will be fully attacked because I'm fully protected.
Thanks to a diverse range of plants on the island, including rosemary and eucalyptus, Alban honey is unique for its distinct flavorings.
I'm going for a tasting. Please be nice. Very clear color. Buono. Wow. Really different from the usual honey you buy in the supermarket. It's not as sweet as the commercial one. It's just incredible. So ora ci parliamo?
Sì.
Yum.
Roberto is also known as the bee whisperer.
So he's now going to show me how he whispers to the bees. The bees can only hear 2 frequencies, and one of the frequencies is what he can make with his mouth. He actually said to me, they completely freeze. This is bizarre. So every time he shouts, and they actually listen to him, they completely freeze. I'm going to try myself. Oh yeah, they stop. That's good. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm definitely going to use that with the children. Okay, I'm going to get some honey now because I got some cooking to do.
I'm returning the few miles back to Portoferraio to cook a dinner in honor of Napoleon's love of these special Alban bees. Honey-drizzled char-grilled chicken with garlic and rosemary potatoes.
Napoleon's house is behind me, and for my recipe, I'm going to use Roberto's honey, which I think is going to be fantastic with my chicken. And where we start is right here with the chicken. I'm going to spatchcock it because that is the best way when you griddle or when you put on the barbecue. So what you do, see the cavity in the back here. Get the knife on one side of the backbone and put pressure to break it. Just like that, okay? Then turn the chicken around and open like that. Nice and easy. And there you have it. Okay, for the marinade, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to use honey. Now, honey is gonna do two things. Number one is gonna caramelize the chicken, and then on top of the skin, and it's gonna make the chicken very crispy. I'm gonna put a little bit on the chopping board as well, because later on I'm gonna roll the chicken, probably about 3 or 4 tablespoons, absolutely fine. Then I go rosemary. Just take the leaves out, throw onto the chicken.
To the marinade, add 2 cloves of crushed garlic, 3 tablespoons of tomato puree, salt, pepper, and olive oil. Then rub it all in.
Okay, your griddle pan needs to be really, really hot. And the inside goes on the hot griddle pan, and this is the sound that you want to get. Now, to make sure you cook this evenly, I got another tip for you. Get yourself a brick, any brick will do. Wash it, dry it, and then just place the brick on top so the pressure is gonna make sure that all the chicken cooks at the same time. Just like that.
Cook the chicken pushed down by the brick for around 15 minutes on each side until cooked through. Adding a squeeze of lemon when you turn it over.
Now, the skin side is done. Look at that. This is exactly what I wanted. Don't be afraid, it looks burned by honey. It's gonna be nice and sweet. Let it rest just the way it is for about 5 to 6 minutes. We're gonna cut it. It's gonna be fantastico.
To go with my chicken, I want potatoes done in a simple Italian style, using new potatoes parboiled and quartered earlier. To a hot pan, add olive oil, sliced garlic, and rosemary leaves.
Garlic, rosemary is a match made in heaven with potato.
Then go in with the potatoes and season. Fry for just 4 to 5 minutes and the job is done.
Just delicious. Okay, now let's get on with the chicken. The way I do it, get yourself a sharp, big knife and start to cut into pieces. So leg first. Look at that. This chicken is cooked to perfection. Moisture in the middle, crispy outside. You're gonna taste the bitterness of the burned honey, but yet the sweetness coming through.
Pile on a nice chopping board. Give a final squeeze of lemon juice and let everyone tuck in. Just how Napoleon would have liked it, I'm sure.
There you have it, my Isola d'Elba griddled chicken. Tonight, my Mediterranean journey of discovery brings me to a place that is in the top 5 Italian islands to visit. And it's Italy's 3rd largest, the Tuscan island of Elba.
And I'm continuing to the southeast tip, the region of Capoliveri, where the ground is rich in minerals. For centuries, iron mining was a main source of employment on Elba, supplying iron to mainland Italy and Europe. However, it was a brutal, labor-intensive work, and after the final mine closed in 1981, there are a reminder of a tough life many Albans lived.
Quindi l'ultima volta che sei stato...
So I'm truly honored ex-miner Filippo has agreed to show me inside the Ginevro mine, where he once worked.
27 years that he's been working down this mine. But Filippo was saying that he's actually feeling quite sad at the moment. He hasn't come back here for a long time The last time he worked here was in 1981. He lost many friends here that they died. He saw loads of injuries that he will always stay with him. Quindi come è iniziato il fatto che ha lavorato in miniera?
Beh, io ho iniziato che io sono entrato
Working in 7-kilometer long tunnels and extracting iron from as deep as 54 meters below sea level was very dangerous. So finally the mines were closed.
Che cos'è quella stanza là?
Quello noi lo chiamiamo il refettorio, il punto in cui a una certa ora del giorno
si mangia. I've just asked, I can see a room there, a dark room in there, and I said, what is that? He said, it's the kitchen where everybody used to meet and eat. I'm gonna check it out.
Miners like Filippo worked long 8-hour shifts, 6-7 days a week, so their daily half-hour break was precious time.
All the miners, they used to get together in this very room to eat something. In here, whatever the shift before had leftover that they used to put in this little basket here, and all the miners, they used to eat whatever was from the night before. Trying to tell one of my kids to eat the leftover from last night, that will be a challenge. Poi dopo che si beveva?
è una cosa molto importante per il minatore.
So to drink, I said, water, I guess. He said, no, not many people liked water. It used to be wine. Red wine, vino rosso?
Beh, rosso, nero o bianco,
Bianco.
fa lo stesso.
Whatever
Basta
wine,
avere il vino.
as far as it was wine, they would drink everything. What an honor to be here, and I have lots of admiration for people like him that did this kind of work, because somebody has to do it, and grazie.
Tanto bene.
Grazie.
I've been really moved by Filippo and the work of the miners, and hearing how important the local wine was to them has given me an idea. So I've picked up a bottle of Alban Rosé made with Aleatico grapes famously grown here on the island to use in a recipe I'll rustle up on the beaches of the mines.
I think this is going to work really well with my next recipe, because I'm doing a saffron risotto with peas and grana padano cheese. And sorry if you see me tapping up and down, the sand is extremely hot. Because as you can see, it's all black sand, full of iron around here, and it's really, really hot. Let's get the risotto started. You just need to learn a couple of basic tips, which I'm gonna go through with you, and the job is done. So, first of all, get yourself a large pot and start to add olive oil to toast the rice grain.
Coat either arborio or carnaroli rice in the oil and stir for 3 minutes. It's going to create a seal around the rice, so when it cooks, it will stay nice and al dente.
And have a look at the oil bubbling around each rice grain. That's telling me that it's toasting beautifully. At this point, straight away, finely chopped onion in the rice. Now, the trick with the onions when you make a risotto is to make sure that you don't color the onions, so don't overcook them.
Stir for another 5 minutes until the onions are soft and translucent. Then it's time to add a glass of my Alban Rosé.
It's going to work really beautiful. Remember, whenever you cook with wine, you need to allow the alcohol to evaporate and the flavor of the wine to stay in. So put the wine and let it bubble for a couple of minutes.
You can use any rosé or white wine found more locally to you. Just make sure it's dry and delicate.
Okay, now let me prepare the saffron. A little expensive saffron is, but the flavor goes a long way. So you want a nice pinch of saffron strands. And then the way to do it, I got some vegetable stock over here, which is warm. Just put some vegetable stock straight in and start to melt the saffron into the stock. Now look at the way the color is changed immediately. Amazing.
Pour in all the saffron. Add 2 ladles of vegetable stock and simmer.
All right, so now at this point, the secret is simple. As soon as you see the rice absorbing the stock, then you add a little bit more. Remember, from the beginning until the end, maximum 20 minutes of cooking.
Once the rice is cooked, but still has a light bite, add in the other ingredients. I'm using peas, but you can add meat or fish or whatever you fancy.
Now let me show you the #1 tip when you're making a risotto. How do you get the creamy texture at the end? Do you add cream? Absolutely no. The only way to do it is butter and cheese.
Add a large knob of butter, then grate in the same amount of grana padano, a cheese similar to Parmesan.
Now is what is called mantecatura in Italian. Mantecatura is when you stir the butter and the cheese very fast into the rice. See what's happening as you're stirring, you're releasing the starch from the rice grain, the butter and the cheese, they get together, and you get a natural creaminess to the risotto. I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper. Oh, I can really taste the rosé. Beautiful.
Serve up the risotto, garnished simply with a small grating of cheese and drizzle of olive oil.
Look at that.
Simple saffron risotto with peas, made with local rosé wine. What a perfect way to end my Mediterranean adventure here on the island of Elba. I'm exploring my 10 hand-picked gems on Italy's west coast. Sorrento, Naples and Amalfi are probably the best-known places on the Mediterranean coast, all beautiful and incredibly popular.
But if you come a little further south, you're gonna find loads of hidden gems. And the reason why I know that is because my mom and daddy, they used to bring me here camping.
I'm talking about the stretch of coast that sweeps between the towns of Santa Maria di Castellabate and Paestum, just over 60 miles from the noisy regional capital of Naples, but a whole world away. Here, you will find unspoiled deserted beaches edged by rugged mountains. This is my secret Italy. Throughout my childhood, we would escape the hustle and bustle of my hometown Naples for the peace and tranquility of this area. I have vivid memories of these ancient towers that are strung along the shores and stories of Saracen pirates. As a child, they intrigued me. Now, as a chef, coming back after 25 years, I want to find out more about them and the food heritage of this stretch of coast. So, I'm beginning this bellissima little town called Castellabate. As the seaside town has strong links to the coastal towers. To find out more about them and the town's food traditions, I'm joining Gennaro,
Buonasera.
a local historian, for a sundowner at this pretty port.
E quindi serviva qui anche come deposito.
Come a deposit. So this place right here where we sit in, it used to be a warehouse. So all the produce, the fish, the meat, the veg used to be stored in here, and then it used to go all over the places with the boats.
Then we turned our attention to the towers.
Direttamente in contatto con il castello di Castellabate.
In the towers they used to make smoke signs. Because when the Saracens used to come, it was the only way that they could tear the castle in the land that the Saracens were coming with this smoke sign.
Originally constructed as watchtowers, they were used to warn against Saracen pirates in the 16th century.
That is the reason why they also very well situated all along the coastline. All this area here has been attacked by pirates in the past. I didn't know that. Everything I'm learning is just cool for me. It's very, very exciting. Salute.
Salute.
So, hot on the trail of these pirates, I'm leaving the coast and heading inland, in search of a heroic pasta that helped one quaint medieval village, Felitto. Legend has it, during a siege that lasted 40 days, the locals taunted the starving pirates with their handmade long fusilli pasta. Local cookery teacher Rosie is going to teach me how to make this regional specialty.
20 anni fa.
Adesso proviamo.
Proviamo, vai. So, aspetta.
While Rosie gets the dough ready,
Cingoli.
So I'm asking why we got instruments behind us, and she said, because I came to Felitto, there is a surprise for me waiting. Okay.
Cingoli, che adesso ne facciamo uno.
on with the pasta making.
Then you make the cingoli, which is the beginning of the long fusilli, by using those little pieces.
This is the original fusilli, not the corkscrew pasta we know in Britain.
When they didn't have any money around the area, they found a way to create a shape of pasta with an hole in the middle, so then it would grow bigger. So people were thinking to have a big plate of pasta, but really, the actual dough was very little. So it's a clever, tricky little thing that they're using.
Rosie shares her secret to guarantee that every strand of pasta rolls out to the same length.
So this is the measurement,
Sì.
it's the palm on your hands. So cut it.
Sì, poi
Then again.
metti.
Okay, so
Dai.
far so easy. Okay.
And Rosie uses this wire to create the fusilli's unique shape.
It's square, it's not completely rounded, because if it was rounded, it would be very difficult to take out of the pasta. Because it's square, you can twist it, and then it comes out very easily. Put the wire on top of the pasta. Then with 2 fingers, you push the wire into the dough. Then with this part of your hands, you roll it. I love stuff like this because, you know, this is something that you don't see done anymore, especially in London, where I live.
I thought I was doing okay, but Rosie doesn't think I'm making my pasta quick enough.
Vai, vai, che ce la
Vai,
fai.
vai, piano, piano.
Bravo.
Eccolo qua, oh.
Ma guarda
Oh, oh.
che... Ma guarda che...
Guarda.
Vediamo.
This is big, yeah?
Gino, uguale.
Oh, identical, look at that. That's it.
And with Rosie, in no time we make enough fusilli, which will be the star ingredient in my next dish.
I'm going to show you how to make an extremely simple plate of pasta. It's fusilli with pancetta and mozzarella. Nice and easy, everything will be done within 20 minutes. So we're going to start with the aubergine.
To make the sauce, I'm using even quantities of aubergine and courgettes, both diced into around 1 centimeter cubes.
Okay. Now, if you see the size of the aubergine and courgettes are exactly the same size, and that tells me that they're going to cook at exactly the same time.
Heat some oil in a wok, and when it's hot, add the veg.
Very important at this stage to add a little bit of salt on top of the vegetable, because the moisture is going to come out and the vegetables are going to be extra crispy.
Fry the veg for around 7 minutes, and then add in some diced pancetta.
If you can't find the pancetta, streaky bacon, finely sliced, absolutely fine.
Add sliced red onions and cook for another 8 to 10 minutes.
Now is the time to add tinned cherry tomatoes. You can find them anywhere and they are amazing.
I like whole cherry tomatoes because they add texture.
They're gonna be amazing for this sauce.
Finally, add in some green pesto and let the sauce simmer for 15 minutes.
I'm just gonna add black pepper. Now the secret is to let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. That time there, use it to cook the fusilli.
Cook the pasta in a large pan of boiling salted water until it's al dente, so it still has a little bite. If you can't find long fusilli, spaghetti or bucatini is a good alternative.
The sauce now is gonna completely stick to the fusilli, and when you taste it, it's gonna be yum yum.
For a final flourish, tear in some buffalo mozzarella.
I want to see strings of mozzarella as I'm mixing the pasta together. And that's exactly what I wanted. The oozing mozzarella with the long fusilli, the cherry tomato. Oh. This is perfect. There you go. And the perfect wine to go with this pasta is Fiano d'Avellino, which I chose because it's a local wine. It's come from the region of Campania. It's a little bit spicy, so it goes really, really well with the pancetta and the cherry tomato. Let's see. I'm happy with my pasta. Now let's see if my teacher, she's gonna be happy.
While we eat, Rosie's surprise is revealed. A local band to serenade us. And my rustic dish with Rosie's fusilli seems to be going down rather well. And I can't wait to show you further delights as I travel along the coast in search of this region's most famous food hero and Italy's finest ingredients. I'm continuing my journey along the west coast of Italy, searching out its iconic ingredients. So I'm traveling from the mountains of Felitto back towards the coast to a truly special area known as the Plains of Pesto. Famous for being home to the native Italian Mediterranean water buffalo. Which means this part of my journey, it's all about the almighty mozzarella. Herds of water buffalo roam this area, and it's only the milk from Pestum buffalo that makes this world-class buffalo mozzarella. I'm meeting local cheese producer Pasquale, who says they owe a big debt to these majestic animals.
This is incredible. Pasquale was explaining that these buffaloes, they've been here for pretty much about 100 years. I mean, in the old days, Pestum used to be like a big swamp.
Originally working animals, the water buffalo were used to help drain the Pestum swamps, creating rich farmland. But now they live a more comfortable life.
This beautiful buffalo here, she's called Anna Maria, and they definitely don't mind to get massaged. If you see Pasquale now what we're doing, she loves it. I would.
Pasquale believes that pampering these animals, limiting stress and feeding them well, ensures the quality of the milk and the mozzarella they produce is the best in Italy.
So the reason why it's called mozzarella, because it comes from an Italian way to say mozzare, right? Mozzare. Mozzare means when you take your finger, you squeeze this soft cheese and it becomes a ball. And from mozzare, then came the name mozzarella.
With the massage complete, it's morning milking time.
Okay, andiamo, va. Andiamo, let's go, let's go. Like every other woman I know, she doesn't listen.
Standing here, I can smell the sweetness of the milk.
Buona soltanto con la bufala.
So the buffalo milk is much, much better than normal cow milk because it's got more aroma.
The milk is then taken into the creamery and heated, and then curdled using enzymes to separate into curds and whey. The curd is placed in boiling water, where it melts into the malleable mixture that we know as mozzarella. And they still use the traditional mozzare technique to finish making the cheese.
Perciò noi dobbiamo fare la mozzarella tutti i giorni.
I'm asked if they make mozzarella every day, and Pasquale said, well, if the buffalo does milk every day, then we have to do the mozzarella every day.
Mozzarella is big business for Pasquale. They sell nearly 51 million balls of it every year.
See, for us, mozzarella is a way of living. It's the same way that every morning you go and get your cup of tea or cup of coffee. We will go and get our fresh buffalo mozzarella. And the biggest tip that I can give you is to make sure that you always eat it at room temperature. So all the fat starts to melt and it's gonna be delicious. You know what I say? Thanks God for the buffaloes.
Mozzarella is what puts Paestum on the Italian food map, but it's also celebrated for being home to one of the oldest sites in Italy, the spectacular ruins of the ancient city of Paestum. Originally a Greek colony called Poseidonia, by the 3rd century BC, it had become an important Roman trading post, and still standing proudly are these 3 beautifully preserved temples.
I used to come to Paestum when I was a little boy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really appreciate all the history of my ancestors like I'm doing right now. This is just incredible.
To find out a little more about these incredible ruins, I'm meeting local expert Nicola.
You know, when people they come in the south of Italy and they want to see this kind of ruins, they usually go to Herculaneum or Pompeii. And I'm just asking Nicola, why Paestum is different? And he said to me, you know, gee, people they come here to see something that is even older than Pompeii and Herculaneum.
Tutto il Mediterraneo arrivava qui in Paestum.
So from the sea, they used to get pretty much all their ingredients. Spices, extra virgin olive oil, wines. How cool is this? Right here, we are where the market used to be. I mean, they call it forum, but really it was a market. So all this cavity that you see is like having all little shops one after the other, like a big Camden Town market, I guess.
And if I were shopping at this ancient market, the one thing I would buy is Paestum's star ingredient, buffalo mozzarella. And what better place to showcase it than here?
I'm right in the middle of Paestum ruins, and I'm going to cook something that is very easy, very colorful, great for vegetarians, great for starters, great for main course. This is the ultimate minimum effort, maximum satisfaction dish. So it's aubergine stock with buffalo mozzarella, roasted peppers with infused oil. And right here is where we start.
Chop 1 aubergine into around 1 centimeter slices and then season with salt.
Okay, make sure you put olive oil in a frying pan and the oil must be hot. If the oil is not hot, the aubergine will suck up all the oil and they're gonna be disgusting.
Once the oil is hot, place all of the slices in and fry until both sides are golden brown.
Okay, so time now to make the infused oil. So what I got some flat leaf parsley. You could use basil or a little bit of fresh mint. I got some fresh mint. I'm gonna add a couple of mint leaves. That's the beauty about Italian cooking. You can add and take away whatever you want, whatever you fancy. Straight into the bowl.
Then add 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika.
So that goes in there.
Add half teaspoon of salt.
Then I got some walnuts. You just crush it and it goes straight into the bowl.
You can chop the pieces if you prefer.
Walnuts is gonna give a nice crunchy texture. In there now, extra virgin olive oil, pour it and stir it at the same time.
Do not scrape when it comes to the oil.
And the job is done. Just let it rest. This should be ready now. Oh yes, perfect. Now let me tell you something about aubergines. Whenever I talk to people about aubergines, they always say, oh, they're yucky, they're rubbery. Aubergines are perfect when you cook them well, they're soft and absolutely delicious. So give aubergine a chance, trust me. let them rest on a plate. It's the time to cut the buffalo mozzarella. What you want to see is the milk coming out. So look at this. As I'm slicing, look at that. Look how you squeeze and the milk is coming out. Look at that. Incredible. It's like all the milk is covering my chopping boards. This is real fresh buffalo mozzarella. Put it back on your plates. The end bits, which is the best part of the mozzarella. This is the chef's perk.
Then, using a vegetable peeler, slice some parmesan.
That's it. That's more than enough. Let's put the stack together. First thing, we're gonna pour a slice of aubergine on the bottom, like that. On top of the aubergine, we're gonna pour a little bit of shaved parmesan. Then we got some roasted peppers, okay? So the pepper. Then you get your mozzarella. So 2 little slices of mozzarella. And then we're just gonna put a little bit of the dressing. Just like that. Now we have to repeat all over again. Roasted peppers. Then a few more slices of mozzarella on top.
And to really enhance the flavors,
okay, now the last touch I'm gonna put, I got a little bit of balsamic glaze. Just all around. This is gonna give a nice sweetness to the dish and it's gonna balance really well with the smoked paprika. Did I not say to you that this is gonna look amazing? Look at that. My experience in this area so far, I have to be honest with you, I'm shocked. I mean, I've learned so many things. I made fusilli with Rosie, I've learned a lot about the pirate, and look where I am, in the middle of Paestum, the ruins of Paestum. This place is incredible. I'm definitely going to bring my children and my family here because I want them to experience exactly the same thing. This place is cool.
tonight I'm really excited. I'm going on a trip down memory lane, showing you the Mediterranean region where I grew up, the magnificent Bay of Naples. The bay is a 35-mile crescent of azure blue sea bordered by Monte di Procida in the north and Punta Campanella in the south, and overlooked by the natural wonder that is Mount Vesuvius. With the seaside Roman ruins of Pompeii on its doorstep, it's not surprised that Naples is a thriving tourist destination, with over 3 million visitors every year. I was raised in the bustling city of Naples, and whenever I return, my love for it floods back. As one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world, 12th century castles compete with pristine piazzas for your attention. Today, as Italy's third largest city, and with over 1 million Neapolitans calling it home, it really is a special place.
For me, Naples is the ultimate masterpiece, a perfect symphony of art, culture, architecture, energy, passion, and of course, food. And every Neapolitan starts their day with this and one of these.
The pastry shop Scaturchio has been serving Neapolitans breakfast in the heart of the city for over 100 years. The most famous of its breakfast pastries is the sfogliatelle. With a sweet filling, in my opinion, is the best way to start your day.
Quindi che stiamo facendo ora, Giacomo?
So I'm thrilled head baker Giacomo has invited me to the kitchen for his masterclass in this Naples staple.
We started right here with the puff pastry. So my job is to massage the pastry with lard. So nice and light for breakfast. Yeah, flour and lard. Cioè bella leggera, leggera.
Ma basta mangiare una sola, fatta bene e
Ma
riempie tutta la
Giacomo said it's better to have only one, but have a good one.
The lard separates out the pastry into crispy wafer-thin layers when it bakes.
For a Neapolitan point of view, to make sfogliatella is like for a Yorkshireman making Yorkshire pudding for the first time.
A rite of passage.
E ora inizia a rotolare?
A rotolare su se stesso, sì, piano piano.
So now we have to roll it into a very tight sausage.
Esatto. Perfetto. Molto preciso.
He said I'm very precise.
And what I love about this is that, like all great Italian dishes, it has a fascinating history.
So the sfogliatella was born somewhere around the 1600, and the priests and the monks, they were the first to create around this coastline the sfogliatella, because at the time they were the only people who had enough money to buy sugar, lard and flour.
Lo tiri, lo giri. Perfetto. E adesso tagliamo.
Next, we cut discs about a finger width. Then we mold into cone shapes, ready for a filling of ricotta cheese, semolina, sugar, egg, and candied fruits. Once stuffed and sealed, they are ready for baking.
Che praticamente doveva sembrare un qualche cosa che appartenesse alla donna.
So the story says that to make the perfect sfogliatella, the shape should be something that resembles something that is in the middle area of a woman.
Cioè il dolce, è bellissimo.
And that's why Neapolitan, they always smile when they have sfogliatella, and I'm smile as well.
Once cooked and dusted with icing sugar, our sfogliatelle are ready. And my mouth is watering.
Look at that. There she is in all its glory. La sfogliatella napoletana. 100,000 of sfogliatelle napoletane sold every single day for Neapolitan people to have breakfast. It's crunchy outside, flaky, and inside is moist. I can really taste the fresh ricotta cheese with the sweetness of the candied peel. This is exactly the way I remembered.
With that delicious breakfast in my belly, wandering the streets of where I grew up, it's obvious why I became a chef. Food is everywhere. The margherita pizza was invented here. Street food is sold on every corner, and it was here that I got my very first taste of the classic Italian gelato.
I remember when I used to bunk off school, I used to come here, get an ice cream, sit in, looking at the sea. And 30 years later, I'm doing exactly the same thing.
As well as great gelato, Naples is famous for fantastic fish and seafood. In the bay itself, you can catch around 20 edible species. And as a city by the sea, there are fish shops in every neighborhood. And the one dish which sums this city up is the one that appears on every restaurant menu in Naples. Fritto misto, or mixed fried fish.
Ascolti, io devo fare un fritto misto.
And I'm going to show you just how simple this iconic dish is to make. Step 1, buy the freshest fish you can from the local pescheria.
I just asked him to do me a box of mixed fish for my fritto misto. And I told him, whatever you go local that I should fry, just put it in the box for me.
So we select anchovies, small local fish, calamari, and fresh prawns. Then find a kitchen with a decent view.
You guys have fish and chips. In Naples, we have fritto misto. And what fritto misto means is a mix of fried fish. And where we're gonna start is with this bad boy, the calamari. Now, let me show you how to prepare it. So, the first thing you have to do, you take the head off, just like that. Okay? Just pull your finger between the wings and the pouch. And as you pull it, the skin comes off. Look at that. Nice and easy. Now let me give you a tip. If you buy a calamari like this and you clean yourself, you're gonna pay half of the price than a calamari already cleaned. So learn how to do it to save some money.
Next, pull out the quill, scrape out the inside and rinse with water. Now the head and the tentacles.
One thing that you have to remove, right in the middle, there is the beak. So just take it out with your finger. Cut just below the eyes, like that. And then with the tentacles, just cut them the size of your finger. All right? Put them there. And this one, cut them in half. And then in half again. Now for the pouch.
Slice open. Gently score a diamond crisscross design on the inside and divide into 4.
So what's gonna happen now? When you fry, this is gonna curl and it's gonna cook really fast. It's gonna be nice and tender. I'm gonna put them here.
The rest of the prep is simple. With the small fish and anchovies, make a little cut on the belly and rinse out the inside. Remember though, you can use whatever fresh seafood is available to you.
See, the thing about fritto misto, the secret is only one. Try to keep the seafood, wherever you're gonna fry, try to keep them as whole.
Next, for the coating, I use 50% of semolina and 50% of flour. Season with salt and pepper and mix. Then add the fish along with some matchsticked peppers and courgettes.
Now, have a look at this. You guys have your butter when you have fish and chips, which I believe sometimes it can be quite greasy and heavy. That's the difference between a butter and what we do in Italy. Slightly coated with the flour. You can still see the whole fish.
Carefully place everything into hot sunflower oil. Starting with the larger fish and anchovies that will take a little longer to cook, about a minute.
Then straight after, we're gonna put the large prawns. In goes the calamari. Then don't forget the courgettes and the peppers. Don't start to fiddle with the spoon in there, just let it fry. You know when it's nice and crispy that everything is gonna be ready.
Whilst the seafood cooks, prepare the perfect dip to serve with it. Mayonnaise flavored with the juice of half a lemon and 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder.
Now let me give you my final tip from the fish. Don't buy any greaseproof paper or anything like that. Newspaper, like in the old days, to make sure that you drain any excess oil from the fish. Then, look at that. Fritto misto straight on top. Perfect. Couple of wedges of lemon.
To wash it down,
Like this.
try a bottle of Franciacorta.
There you go. That's it. A nice way to have a fritto misto. On the top of Naples. Salute to you and to my hometown.
And my culinary journey reveals even more surprises as I continue my coastal trip down memory lane.
I'm traveling along the Mediterranean coastline, revealing its jewels along the way. And tonight, I'm in my hometown of Naples.
Naples is such a city of contrasts for me. From the urban, edgy heart to its pristine squares and its glittering bay. Having explored the heart, I'm heading back to the coast. So I've heard about a unique seafood delicacy beneath the waves that third-generation fisherman Giorgio has promised to take me diving for.
I've been living here for a long time, and I know that this area is very famous for mussels. I had no idea about the sea lemons.
Sea lemon are these sea fruit that they look like some little stones in the water.
Do they taste like a lemon?
Absolutely no.
So why do they call them sea lemon?
Because it's orange, yellow inside. The flavor is very strong and also the smell.
Can you show it to me?
Sure.
So you need to
cut it with a knife. As you can see, it's not so hard.
So this,
another name is a sea squirt.
Yeah, because it just
Yes.
squirted on me. So this little thing is what you're looking for?
Yes.
So all this rock for this little thing?
Yes.
And what do you do with it? How do you eat them? Can you eat it like that?
I use them at the end of a dish. Yes.
So you take this out, chop it up, spaghetti are ready, throw
Yes.
them in, toss, eat them.
Perfect.
And that's what you done there?
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking forward to try. Okay, should we try?
Sure.
Come on. So, this is my first time. I am a sea lemon virgin. Nice. Reminds me of sea urchins, but this is less fishy.
This is the flavor of deep sea, the smell you have in your nose when you come out from diving.
From the deep sea.
Yeah.
So there is always something new to learn. And today, I thank you because I never tried this, and this is delicious. But are you going to show me how do you pick them up from the sea? Bravo, 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 bravo.
Sea lemons naturally live in deep water, but Giorgio grows them in these shallow, warmer waters where they'll mature faster. So in these crystal clear waters, it's no longer before a spot salmon, living in groups stuck to the rocks.
Giorgio, they're beautiful. I love the orange coral.
Yes, and this is the way you can find them.
Can I put them in my pocket?
Sure.
They're not going to bite my willy, are they?
No,
You sure?
absolutely not.
It shows, as a chef, you're never too old to discover new ingredients. With my crown jewels intact, I'm now heading 9 miles out of Naples in search of this region's most famous residents. One with a temper even more fiery than my own, the mighty Mount Vesuvius. Best known for destroying Pompeii back in 79 AD, towering over 1,000 meters above sea level, Vesuvius is still the most active volcano in all of mainland Europe. Yet 1 million Neapolitans still live under its unpredictable gaze.
You may think that those people are mad to live in such a dangerous place. But I speak for all Neapolitans. When I say I think, it sums us up. Spontaneous and beautiful.
And we are definitely not put off by a little rain, because along with the rich volcanic soil in the foothills of Vesuvius, it helps this region produce the best cherry tomatoes in Italy, the Pomodorino del Piennolo del Vesuvio. I'm meeting farmer Bruno, who grows these unique red and yellow tomatoes on his 12-acre farm.
I've just asked Bruno, all this thunderstorm is very dramatic. Does he feel the same living underneath the Vesuvio? And he said, definitely, because they always fear that something is going to happen.
But it's the volcano that helps them produce these world-class tomatoes.
This is such an amazing product. So definitely the Vesuvius plays a huge part on the cultivation of these tomatoes because the ground is full of mineral. So potassium is the main element that helps these tomatoes, number one, for the color, but mainly for the sweetness.
These beauties are known across Italy, and due to their thicker skin, can be stored for months. No wonder they sell for 7 to 8 euros per kilo, compared to just €1 for regular tomatoes.
I want to do the taste test. Meanwhile, I'm quite worried because there are thunders above me. Ma quando è l'ultima volta che ha piovuto qua?
5-6 mesi fa. Siamo fortunati, ci avete portato
la pioggia.
Sì.
6 months ago was the last time that they see rain, and he said, Gino, thank you because you brought the rain from England, which the ground really needs it. È un piacere, è un piacere. This is got more of a delicate flavor, but slightly bitter than the red one. And I can see this one working extremely well with seafood. Questo con 2 vongole, cozze, sai come è buono?
Abbinamento idealissimo.
Bruno agrees with me. Oh, andiamo.
Before I take them away, the little bunches of tomatoes are bound with twine to make a bigger bunch, or piennolo, and then hung, which means they ripen slowly.
I remember since I was probably about 3 or 4 years old, I used to go in my grandmother's kitchen and seeing this cherry tomato hanging in the kitchen there, and I was thinking, how do they do that? So once you have one of these hanging in your kitchen, as far that it's not too hot, this they last up to 10 months. I mean, this is the ultimate man working with nature to preserve things at his best.
As the rain breaks, tomatoes in hand, I head back to the coast. With Vesuvius towering proudly behind me, I'm going to share my foolproof recipe to impress a loved one.
The question that people always ask me is, Gino, what can I prepare something romantic? And the answer is right here. I'm going to show you how to prepare a spaghetti vongole with clams and mussels. We put everything on a big platter so you can play the Lady and the Tramp thing, you can feed each other. And where do we start? Is right here. Clams and mussels. Now, you need to make sure that you clean them when you get at home. And the way to do it is very simple. Clams, you just scrape them. The mussels, usually they got a little beard here. You just take it out, and to see if there is any sand in them, you're gonna have to pick them up. You can do it in your sink, or you can do in a tray like this one, and that's it, bash them down. What's gonna happen if there is sand in the clams or the mussels, that we open straight away and the sand will come out. I often see people making the mistake to take the clams and the mussels and put them in tap water. That is wrong. Tap water is sweet. Mussels and clams are used to salty water and they will die straight away. So these are ready.
Next job is to prepare a simple sauce with just 3 ingredients.
And the trick is this: cold pan, garlic and chili already in there, olive oil goes in. Now, only at this point, the heat comes on.
Once you start to see the garlic sizzle, add in your mussels and clams. Then just add salt, some roughly chopped flat leaf parsley, and mild white wine.
So put a splash in it.
Stir, bring to the boil, then cover with a lid and let the steam work its magic for 5 to 7 minutes. Next, I want my sweet yellow pomodorino tomatoes.
Now, these tomatoes here are going to give a nice flavor.
Italians have many different ways of making vongole. So if you can get yellow cherry tomatoes, don't worry. Red ones works just as well.
Stir all together, couple of minutes, and the sauce is done.
Simply add some spaghetti cooked al dente, and for my final tip, soak the pasta in the sauce for 1 minute before serving.
Beautiful! Now, the way to do this is to pour everything on a large plate. Remember, this is for 2 people. Now, we definitely have the tramp. I'm gonna have to find myself a lady.
Spaghetti vongole with fresh local seafood from Naples Bay and tomatoes from the feet of Vesuvius. This is a dish that is fit for royalty and is a fitting way to end my journey in the Bay of Naples. Salute! I've handpicked the places that I think showcases the very best of the Italian West Coast and its cuisine. And tonight, I'm in the toe of Italy, exploring one of the country's lesser known but very special regions, Calabria.
If you were to come to Italy for the first time,
probably Calabria wouldn't be on top of your list. But if you're looking for an unspoiled holiday, guys, this is the place to be. Calabria is the Italy that's off the beaten track. It's massive, it's wild, it's rocky, and I'm excited to share its rugged beauty with you. I also have happy memories of coming here when I was young, and I'm going to take you to two of my favorite spots, the seaside town of Tropea and the region's largest coastal city, Reggio Calabria. Because Calabria is huge, the best way to travel around is to hop on the train. The train line here hugs the shoreline, so you can appreciate the Calabrian coast without the stress of driving. I remember when I was a little boy with my parents, I used to come to Calabria for holidays. We used to go camping, and it pretty much looks exactly the same. It's unspoiled, very green, and it's very easy getting around, especially if you're on the train. And that's what I'm doing right now, heading to Tropea. One of the finest seaside towns in the whole of Italy, Tropea, is known as the Pearl of Calabria. Very few tourists come here. This is the coastal gem that Italians choose to visit. Crammed with history, Tropea is home to the magnificent Santa Maria dell'Isola monastery. Dating back to medieval times, it's changed over the years, including having the facade rebuilt after an earthquake in 1905. But Tropea's biggest claim to fame is it's given its name to one of Italy's finest ingredients, and I'm heading 3 miles south along the coast in search of them. Italy has many varieties of onions, but the one I want to show you is Cipolla Rossa di Tropea, the red onion from Tropea. When it comes to onions, the Tropea is the Don. It's Calabria's most famous food product and even has protected origin status in the same way champagne does in France. And here at the Delizie Vaticane growers on the coast, these onions have been grown and harvested for over half a century. Il segreto qual è? And I'm meeting co-owner Domenico to find out what makes them so special. The reason why the onion is so sweet is because when they seed it along the coast of Calabria, where they get the wind from the sea and the sweetness from the ground. After they're harvested, the Tropea onions are hanged in these special plats called trecce. They have air and oxygen all around and no one on top of each other. So by doing like this, the onion stays freshest for longer, up to 2 months, if you actually put them somewhere that is cool. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Posso sedere?
Certo.
Sì? These local women have all mastered the art of treccia making.
Ah, piacere Gino.
Michelina, molto lieta.
Michelina, ciao.
This is such a treat for me. I remember seeing these onions hanged everywhere growing up as a child in Italy.
Deve sempre girare.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
È difficile. Guarda.
Platting onions is harder than it looks. It's a skill that some of these women have perfected over 40 years.
Siamo una famiglia tutti qua.
Tutti
quindi...
una famiglia?
Sì, sì, sì.
Ah, so they consider themselves as a huge family. Everybody knows everybody.
I'm used to cooking these onions, known locally as the queen of the kitchen. But these women have other ideas.
Il segreto più buono è mangiarla cruda?
Così?
Sì, sì, sì. No,
Come una mela. She said, eat them like an apple. I don't think my wife would be very happy if I'm eating a raw onion.
Vabbè, se gli piace ti bacia lo stesso.
Sì?
Sì.
Oh, she said she loves you, she will kiss you anyway.
Sì.
This region is paradise for food lovers like me. As well as its famous onions, Calabria is also renowned in Italy for what is locally called red gold. And you only need to look at any market stall or shop window around here to see why. Peperoncino is the Italian red chili, No kitchen cupboard in the country is complete without it, and is now the star of an exciting new wonder food product. I'm going to a place where they make an ingredients that I guarantee will transform your cooking. I'm heading 7 miles inland up into the hills overlooking Tropea to a small holding where they use these chilies to make nduja. It's a spicy spreadable sausage that's usually enjoyed on bread, but also used to flavor dishes like pasta, and it combines the unique flavor of Calabrian chilies with the pork from locally bred pigs to make Italy's hottest new export.
Giuseppe, secondo me la prima cosa che devo imparare
But Giuseppe and his family have been making Calabrian nduja for the last 50 years.
Okay, now let's understand how do we make this nduja.
It only takes 3 ingredients: pork from their homegrown pigs, salt, and of course, chilies.
They use 2 different chili. One is like a horn, corno, and the other one, come si chiama?
3 protuberanze.
Oh, okay. It's very difficult to translate in English, but it looks like a wrinkled testicle. Really?
Oppure naso di cane, se lo vuoi chiamare in un altro modo.
Or the nose of a dog. That's what he says.
To make the nduja, Giuseppe minces the pork and chilies together.
Push, push. Look at that. Beautifully, you can see the chili is gonna kick in like there is no tomorrow here.
The meat mixture is then kneaded by hand the old-fashioned way, before mixing in salt for curing.
Obviously nowadays they have a modern machine, but Giuseppe likes to preserve the traditional way, and I love that actually, because I think Italian coastal escape is very much about showing the traditional way of how recipe have been made for many, many years. Okay, now we're gonna put the intestine on the fennel, just the same way you would pour a sock on a foot.
Once the intestine is full, it's tied up, ready to be hung in Giuseppe's smokehouse.
Wow, this is nduja heaven. È bellissimo. And I feel like a doctor in a nduja surgery place here. So now that we have the fresh nduja made, we're gonna put it here.
The nduja is hung for between 90 and 150 days, depending on the size. Half the time in smoke, half in salty sea air, which Giuseppe believes is what makes it taste so special. And I'm trying some of his latest batch.
It's got an amazing smoking flavor going through. It's smooth. I'll tell you what, as a chef, I can tell you hundreds of recipes where I could use nduja.
I'm so inspired, I'm taking some of Giuseppe's amazing nduja and some red onions back to Tropea so I can cook al fresco.
It's so beautiful here that is insane, and I'm going to show you a proper Mediterranean recipe. Calabrian style prawns.
Start by heating up some extra virgin olive oil in your pan and melting 6 chopped anchovies.
So that goes in there. Listen to this. That's exactly what you want to hear.
Time for the queen of the kitchen, one of those beautiful Tropea red onions.
The onions are going to give a fantastic sweet flavor, great texture, straight in.
And now for spice, some of Giuseppe's incredible artisan nduja. But if you can find it, any spicy salami can work too.
I'm gonna take the skin off, and this is gonna be crumbled straight into the sauce. And it's gonna look amazing. The beautiful thing about this dish, the prawns are going to be sweet, and then you're gonna get a kick from the chili.
To boost the salty taste of the coast, a couple of tablespoons of drained capers, then black olives.
This is looking really good, and the smell, the chili is coming through from the nduja, the olives are getting all crispy with the onions. Okay, now is the time for the tomatoes.
Add 2 tins of chopped tomatoes for the classic Italian sauce base.
That's...
Next, for sweetness and a pop of color, I'm using defrosted frozen peas, although fresh is just as good. and some chopped flat leaf parsley.
Give it a good stir. You can see all this little bubble in the middle. In Italian, we say piopea. Piopea is when it does like that. And it resembles the volcano. So that is the kind of temperature you want under the pan.
Let your sauce bubble away for 10 minutes, and that's it.
This is gonna be incredible. Oh, yes.
Now you have rolled out your red carpet, it's time for the seafood royalty, king prawns.
Just pick them up and it goes straight into the sauce. And make sure that they never peeled, because when you peel prawns, they cook very fast and they get very dry and chewy. If you leave the head and the tail and all the shell on, the moisture keeps there and the color is gonna be just beautiful.
Cover the prawns slightly with the sauce and cook for around 6 minutes, turning them halfway through, and ecco qua.
This is looking good.
Spoon some of the smoky, spicy tomato sauce into a bowl.
Now, I'm just gonna pile the prawns on top. See? Beautiful.
Finish with extra virgin olive oil and hunks of freshly toasted ciabatta.
And I'm gonna serve it with a nice bottle of Verdicchio dei Castelli. This wine is very clean and refreshing, and it's gonna work magnificent with the sweetness of the prawns. Beautiful color as well, look at that. Okay, let's do this. You know what, guys? This to me is the ultimate comfort food. Prawns, Calabrian style. Salute.
With these mind-blowing prawns, an iconic coastal backdrop, my Calabrian journey is coming along a treat, and there is still the verdant valleys of the south to explore. Tonight, I'm in the tip of Italy's boots, Calabria, the country's diamond in the rough, exploring the rocky coastline and uncovering its world-class produce. And I'm heading further south to the region's largest city, Reggio Calabria, separated from the island of Sicily by the Strait of Messina. Reggio Calabria has a population of just 200,000 people, a fraction of the size of Rome. It's also home to a magnificently eclectic cathedral, and glorious promenade where the goddess Athena stands and guards the city. But this area is most famous in Italy for fruit that is both exotic and enigmatic, known as the bergamot. And I'm heading a couple of miles inland from the city to a tiny place called Contrada Limbone to find out more about this unusual but versatile fruit.
Dimmi un po' le origini del bergamotto, com'è nata sta storia?
Guarda, come origine un po' incerta.
Francesco's family has been growing bergamot for the last 50 years. Now, I know bergamot as the flavor of Earl Grey tea, but I had no idea it has been grown in my home country for over 200 years.
It happens around 1750, and they're not sure if it was Christophorus Columbus who brought it here or Chinese people.
Bergamots are mainly used as an essential oil in the perfume industry. And because Calabria is the most prolific producer of this fruit, 90% of the world's bergamot comes from right here. And it's thanks to the perfect growing conditions here that bergamot does so well.
Being in a valley, you have a lot of minerals and loads of goodness in the soil, which helps the bergamot to be the one from Reggio Calabria, to be what he says, the best in Italy.
Now, what I want to know is how I can use these fine bergamots in my cooking.
Non è né un limone né un arancio.
Né un limone né un arancio.
No, è un'altra agruma.
See, I knew it. I said, look, I can really understand. Is he a lemon or is he an orange? And the answer was, it's not one or the other. It's something that nobody knows. Mo fa assaggiare sul bergamotto. Yeah, come on, let's go and taste. Let's go and taste the bergamotto.
Francesco doesn't know what it is, but I know my taste buds. So it's time to try this alien fruit for myself.
Interesting flavor. Slightly bitter. This is good. Questo è buonissimo.
And it's not just the juice that Francesco wants me to try. Next is his bergamot tea.
È buono, ma io preferisco quell'altro. Lo so. Yeah, I prefer the other one. I mean, it's good. I think if you're a tea drinker, this will be up your street.
And now bergamot preserve with a kick of ginger.
Wow, this is good. A bitter orange marmalade. This is definitely something I'm going to start to use in cooking. Okay, look over there. See the fly? Look at the fly over there. See? So, fly.
And I've also got my eye on this bergamot syrup.
Tasting all of that, I know exactly what I'm going to get from this. And lo posso pigliare questo?
Certo, è tuo.
Yeah, I got the authorization to take this one with me, as well as the marmalade. So, grazie.
Prego.
All right, ci vediamo più
Ci
tardi.
vediamo dopo.
I'm going to go do some cooking.
Ok.
Inspired by Calabria's most exotic fruit and this stunning mountain backdrop, I'm going to create the perfect dessert to celebrate the Mediterranean summer.
I'm going to show you how to prepare gelatina di frutta fresca, which is fresh fruit jelly with prosecco. Now, everybody always panic when they have to prepare jellies. My one is easy, colorful, and absolutely fantastic if you have guests around, because we're going to serve them in these martini glasses, so they're going to be really, really cold.
Our first ingredient for some Italian summertime fizz, lemonade.
Put a half into the saucepan and let it bubble gently. As soon as you see some bubbles, the job is done. Then I got a bottle of Prosecco. Got a good quality Prosecco. Remember, if you get a Prosecco that is not very good, your jellies are going to suffer, all right? So make sure you open at the last minutes. Okay, so this is what's happened when your bottle of Prosecco is too hot. Make sure it's cooler.
Important advice there. Next, we have some sheets of gelatin which I've softened in cold water.
Looks like a big jellyfish. In there straight away.
Stir the gelatin into the hot lemonade until it's completely dissolved. Next, for the Calabrian citrus zing, the bergamot syrup.
Now, if you can't find the bergamot syrup, you can use lemon syrup or orange syrup. It's absolutely fine. That's it. Now mix everything together, guys, and let it rest. Now is the time to fill the glasses with the fruits.
You can use any fruit you like. I'm using seasonal summer strawberries and a crisp Granny Smith apple, which I chopped and soaked in lemon juice to stop it going brown.
This is gonna look so good and sexy. Then we do exactly the same thing with the strawberries. Okay, at this point, you get your mixture, okay? And you just fill up the glasses. Make sure that they equal when you fill up, otherwise your guests are gonna start to fight. I think the secret of making jellies is to make sure that they look good, like this one.
Now, Prosecco time!
Obviously, I got half of the bottle because the other half is equally spread on my cooking table. The only thing you have to do, just fill up the glasses half centimeter from the top. Nice.
Give your jellies a little stir and pop them in the fridge for 3 hours. Just enough time for me to watch my favorite film. It turns out revenge isn't the only dish best served cold.
I love that movie. Now, 3 hours have gone by, and look what's happening here. Wobbly, 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 wobbly. That's what you want when you get a good jelly.
Now for an offer you really can't refuse, a fresh, silky topping of whipped cream and mascarpone cheese.
So, put in there, and slowly, slowly work the mascarpone into the cream.
Flavor your cream mixture with vanilla seeds or vanilla extract and spoon onto each of your fruity Prosecco jellies.
I got some bergamot, candied peel, and fresh mint leaves. Nice and beautiful. Look at that. Huh?
My refreshing Prosecco jelly with a surprise citrus twist sums up the unspoiled Mediterranean coast perfectly. Every year, 4.1 million Brits visit Italy and its Mediterranean coastline for a dose of sun, sea and sand and a taste of la dolce vita.
I kind of see why you guys want to come here on holiday. But now I want to share with you, as a chef, amazing food stories.
Tonight, I'm off the northern coast of Sicily, exploring the stunning Aeolian Islands. Officially part of Sicily, the Aeolian archipelago is the cluster of 7 volcanic islands, the most famous of which, Stromboli, still blows its top. Speckled with quiet coves and glittering towns, these breathtaking islands attract a mixed crowd, from the mega-rich to nature lovers.
I've never been to these islands before, but they got loads to offer. And 2 islands I'm really interested to show you is Salina and Panarea.
Panarea is famously the sparkling diamond in the Aeolian Islands. But my first stop is the lush green island of Salina, an hour-and-a-half boat ride from Sicily. Salina takes its name from the Italian word for salt, because of the salt lake here. Measuring just 10 square miles, is the second largest Aeolian island. Salina is perhaps most famous as the setting for the iconic film Il Postino, shot in Pollara, where the breathtaking views make it the ultimate place for a sundowner. But the island's showbiz connections don't stop here, so I'm heading to Lingua, a small town with a big reputation.
My first stop is a cafe that sums up Italian island life. It's the perfect place to try Salina's signature sweets, and I've heard it's so good, it's got loads of famous fans.
If the Sicilian summer has got you hot and bothered, Café de Alfredo is the place on Salina to cool off. Alfredo's is renowned for their top secret version of a classic Sicilian dessert, granita. And owner Piero and his family have been making it for nearly 40 years.
Granita is a typical Sicilian dessert, and we use only fresh fruit and sugar and a little bit of water.
That's it?
That's it.
And you get people from all over the world to come and eat it?
Many people.
What kind of people? Go on, tell me what kind of people come here.
I remember Robert De Niro. He used to come here very often. Then Dolce Gabbana also. And Naomi Campbell. She liked granita very much. She had 3 or 4 granita when she came here.
Okay, now I'm curious. Can you order some granita?
Okay.
Now, I've had lemon granita before, but with 14 new flavors to choose from, I've asked for the one that keeps the A-lister coming back. Strawberry, pistachios, and vodka.
Are you trying to get me drunk or something, Jessica? Okay. So, we're trying the famous... Do we need
one
to
is
use
mine.
straw? Oh, okay.
One straw is mine.
One straw is yours. All right.
Okay. You start. No, you start.
No, we can start together.
Oh, wow.
You want to be romantic? Let's be
yes,
romantic.
okay.
Oh, it's really good. It's like tasting cold, fresh fruits.
Yes.
Very, very good.
We are not only famous for granita, we always make the best pane cunzato in the area.
As much as I'm enjoying the granita, I have to try this pane cunzato, a traditional Sicilian open sandwich made with toasted bread topped with classic Italian ingredients.
I like this because you can do whatever you want.
All these ingredients come from right here on the island, like ricotta cheese, aubergine, capers, and of course, mozzarella.
Melts in your mouth.
Yes.
I'm gonna eat it now.
It's for 3, 4 people, not for only one.
3, 4 people?
Yes.
Think again, I'm hungry. I'm gonna have it by myself. Buonissimo. È buono, eh? Amazing.
Having tried that pane cunzato, and now have a taste for Salina's most famous ingredient, those capers. And to get a feel for the island life, caper farmer Antonino is taking me for a spin. Although it's one of Italy's biggest caper producers, Salina is so small you can get around it in a single day, even in Antonino's car.
I've just asked him, with 2,000, 2,500 people living on the island, must be a bit of a pain that everybody knows you, they know your business. And he answered, no, this is like a huge family, we all get on with each other and they love it just the way it is.
Oh, guarda che c'è,
Who's that?
Gaetano. È un amico mio, Gaetano. Ciao. Come va?
Ciao, come va?
Che fai?
Bene.
Antonino wasn't joking about knowing everyone.
See?
Una bella giornata.
This is Gaetano, Antonino's friend. He's just been picking up capers everywhere and now he's gonna go for a nap. Brilliant. Ciao Gaetano, grazie.
Ciao, buona giornata.
Ciao bello. Ciao, 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 ciao.
Enough for the gossip. I want to know more about these capers, the island's #1 ingredient.
È un vegetale buonissimo, rapiva qualunque piatto.
He eats capers every single day. I love capers myself.
I frutti sono i cucunci.
Interesting. See, that everybody thinks that it's a fruit or it's a vegetable, but actually it's a bulb before the flower comes in, and it grows in big bushes.
What's also interesting is capers don't actually grow in fields, but in rocky beds in vineyard dotted all around this tiny island. And Antonino's been growing them since 1992.
From the same branch, you can have different sizes of capers. Look, this is a medium one, then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, some of these are huge.
No matter what they say, when it comes to capers, size does matter.
The big one are the ones that they taste much better than the smaller. Io preferisco I grandi comunque.
Anche io.
And Antonino agrees with me, he prefers the big one.
Thanks to the warm climate, proximity to the sea and volcanic rock, capers grow here in abundance.
Infatti il sapore che hanno leggermente
Salaticcio.
di salmastro è dovuto a questo.
Anche al mare.
È un misto tra il sale e il magma vulcanico del terreno.
That's the reason why capers are always slightly salty, because they absorb the salt from the sea and the mineral from the volcano.
Now to showcase these gorgeous capers, which for me are the taste of Italian cuisine.
I kind of feel that I'm on a holiday, so I'm gonna keep my sunglasses on and I'm gonna start to drink some wine. And the wine I'm going to drink is a local Sicilian wine called La Segreta. Now, this one is quite citrusy, so it works really, really well with the aniseed flavor of the basil, because I'm going to prepare linguine con pesto, fagiolini e capperi, which is linguine pasta with basil pesto, green beans, and the famous capers. Color is amazing. This is absolutely beautiful.
Start by pouring extra virgin olive oil onto some basil leaves in a mortar and pestle.
I adore making pesto, especially with the basil pesto, because it tells me that the summer is here and I'm gonna have a beautiful, sunny and colorful plate of pasta.
Next, a pinch of sea salt and that classic pesto flavor, pine kernels.
Probably want to pour about 2 tablespoons of that. A clove of garlic, just make sure you peel it straight in. And then the action is quite easy.
I love to make my pesto the traditional way, but if you are tight for time, a quick blitz and a food processor will do the job.
Now, remember that pesto is not a sauce, it's a dressing, so always should be served at room temperature, because if you put it in a pan and you're gonna heat it up, you lose the freshness of the basil and the color green is gonna go quite dark and dull.
Next, get the pasta on the go.
I'm using linguine. Linguine in Italian means tiny, long tongues. That's what it means. And to cook pasta to perfection, you want the water to really go fast. Blah, 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 blah. That's what you want.
Always make sure you add salt to the water, otherwise the pasta will be tasteless.
No need to add any oil. because if you keep the water boiling, the pasta will never stick. Straight in.
Once the pasta is on, add more extra virgin olive oil to the pesto and some finely grated pecorino cheese.
You want a smooth texture, but make sure that it doesn't get too dry. I'll show you the consistency that you're looking for. Now look at that, nice and creamy.
Now, for the taste of Salina, capers.
In the Salina Island, they come under salt, like the one that we got here. The only thing that you have to do, if you buy capers in salt, pick them up, put them in your hand, and run them under cold tap water. Give them a good squeeze. I usually squeeze them in the same water that I'm cooking pasta, so it gives a little bit more flavor.
Roughly chop the capers and add them to the pesto.
Mix everything together. That's it. The job is done.
Back to the pasta, always make sure you cook it al dente, which is 1 minute less than it says on the packets.
You must have pasta al dente, because then you don't feel bloated when you eat it.
2 minutes before the pasta is ready, throw in some green beans.
Now, get the pasta straight into the pesto, and this. Don't forget the beans. And I like put beans into pesto because it gives a nice, different texture to the dish. Mix everything together. Look at that.
Finish the linguine with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil and a sprinkle of pecorino.
And this is my experience so far in Salina.
With the perfect dish to celebrate Salina's signature ingredients. Tonight, I'm on a voyage of discovery around Italy's volcanic Aeolian Islands, sandwiched between the mainland and Sicily. I've explored the fertile island of Salina, and now I'm heading to the small wild island of Panarea.
This is my first time on the island, which is very different from Salina Island. That is green, here is rocky, I have to say, absolutely beautiful.
Panarea is the polished gem in the Aeolian archipelago. This tiny, tranquil island has just one town, with picture-perfect whitewashed buildings lining the narrow, winding streets. It's so small, it's only 1.3 square miles, just enough room for its 280 residents.
What I love about this island is that you're surrounded by people that know each other, and it feels that you're part of a big family. It's lovely.
Panarea is also a strictly no-car zone. Any supplies for the locals' hotels and restaurants have to be pre-ordered and shipped in on a ferry. But there is one food they don't need to import, something very special.
You can catch all sorts of fish around here, from sea bream to tuna, sea bass, but the one that they're really famous for is called totano, the red squid.
Local fisherman Filippo is one of Panarea's masters of catching this prized squid, a specialty little known outside these islands because it's only ever eaten fresh locally. This is a real treat. I get to watch the sunset on a UNESCO World Heritage Site surrounded by breathtaking volcanic islands.
L'istituto come geometra.
The main reason why Filippo really loves fishing and being around here is because of peace and quiet, the tranquility, the serenity. Look at your office in the middle of the sea with the sun setting, how romantic. And he started his business when he was only 16 years old with his father, when they bought the first boat and they started to fish for the totano.
Totano.
È la specialità.
La mia specialità,
So his speciality is the totano.
Totano.
And let's hope we're gonna get this totano.
Totano.
The secret to catching these slippery creatures is to fish at night because they are attracted to bright lights, which is usually the moon, but tonight Filippo's light-up hook.
Ok, quindi a quanti metri scende giù?
Questo scende giù 200 metri.
200 metri?
Sì.
See, what is Filippo doing now is putting this light on about 200 meters under the sea. I mean, the whole sea level is 450, but he's going to put down to 200 meters. So then the toteno, or the red squid, gets attracted by the light, and hopefully we're going to do some fishing.
Red squid are tricky to catch, so I'm hoping tonight is my lucky night.
Italians, we always say, if you're not lucky in gambling and fishing, you're lucky in love. I think we may go one.
E allontanati con la faccia perché ti schizza e ti bagna. Da qua, come sono io, te li devi mettere, se no lo perdiamo.
He's so bossy.
Perché non la possiamo fare più? Vai, vai, tiralo, tiralo. Vai, tira lontano dalla barca, vai tirandolo.
Oh! There he is!
Bravo!
Oh! A little totano. Oh, ma è piccolo però.
Più buono da mangiare.
Sì, I said it's small, he said yeah, but it's better to eat. Però è bello, eh?
Il totano più piccolo
Beautiful.
è più buono. Bellissimo, eh?
Look at that, look at the color. Oh! Did you just squirt on me? You little... Okay, you can handle this now.
I don't think the squid will pay my dry cleaning bill, but he will make it up to me back on dry land by starring in a recipe that honors this island life.
I got my squids and I got the sound of the sea. Now I'm officially ready to cook. And the recipe I'm going to show you is very simple, delicious, colorful. It's a salad with fried squids and spicy salami.
I'm using squid which has already been prepared, so if you don't want to do it yourself, just ask your fishmonger nicely.
With squid, there is only one secret. Or you're gonna cook it very fast, or you're gonna cook it for a long time. There is no middle ground as far as cooking squid is concerned. Fast or very long time. So what you want to do, you get your pouch and you cut it in half, like that. And make sure you got a really sharp knife to do this job. So once you cut it in half and completely open, what we now have to do is to slightly make like a diamond pattern all over the inside of the squid pouch. And the reason why I'm doing this is because then it's going to curl and also it's going to look quite pretty. Then you cut it in a half and then you cut in a half again. Tentacles, your fishmonger should have took the beak out, which is where I got my finger there. Just cut them really willy-nilly, as we say in Italian. Just cut however you want, small, large, it doesn't really matter. I love them because they get quite crispy. So very hot pan, olive oil goes in, and check this out. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. Straight away, a little bit of salt.
Next, roughly chop some spicy Italian salami.
Sometimes squid can be slightly bland. When you put the spicy salami, number one, you're gonna get the reddish orange color coating the squid. And most importantly, you got the kick. Just throw them into the pan.
Fry the squid and salami for a maximum 3 to 4 minutes while you prepare the salad.
Now in a large bowl here, I got chickpeas and borlotti beans.
Add some ripe cherry tomatoes, some green olives, and sun-dried tomatoes.
Then I'm gonna put a little bit of chili, sliced red chili. Make sure you take the seeds away, and crushed garlic. 1 clove, more than enough.
To dress the salad, squeeze over half a lemon, season with a little salt, and finally, a drizzle of good quality extra virgin olive oil.
At this point, your finger, toss everything together. That's it, look at that. Amazing colors.
Finally, the salad leaves.
Straight away, I'm gonna add the rockets. Nice peppery flavor goes in.
For balance, in with some flat leaf parsley and then some beautiful fresh basil.
Again, with your hands, mix everything together. And the way to serve it is very simple. Do it the Italian way. 1 large platter, and everything goes in. Oh, look at that. Squids straight on top. This is the ultimate party salad. Now let me give you another tip to make this dish from perfect to magnificent.
you need a good bottle of wine. And the one I got is called Chiaramonte, a local Sicilian wine, which is quite fruity and is going to work beautifully with the spicy salame. So the fruitiness of the wine, the spicy salame, this is going to be the cherry on the cake. Oh yes, I can taste pears, definitely fruit enough to take the kick of the salame. Salute!
My mouth-watering squid and salame salad is as beautiful as the Aeolian Islands themselves. A place that is a big tick off my bucket list and the perfect end to my epic coastal adventure.